Good, Mr. Clinton. You're a good kitty. You're a very good cat. You are such a good boy. Have I ever told you what a good boy you are, Mr. Clinton? That's a good boy. That's a good kitty. Hello, Mr. Yup. How are you? Salutations, floppy sushi. I don't know if you all noticed, but I have Mr. Clinton over here. He's purring. He's a very good kitty. He's an exceptionally good kitty. How are we all doing this evening? How is everybody? Man, you're a good boy. The cat is having the best moment right now. He really is. Mr. Clinton is at his happiest when he's being pet and given head rubs, and when he's screwing with my microphone. No Dota anytime soon, Gavin. I kind of got worn out of Dota. In a few days, we get to do the Massachusetts organizing and lobbying trip. I'm excited. After that, a road trip throughout the country. Because I do, Danny Aquino, because I do. Based Mr. Clinton. Mr. Clinton is I don't know what based means, but I don't know. Are you based, Mr. Clinton? Somebody called you based. Have you spoken to Steve Lato about right to repair? I have a video on this channel, but I think it seems like a lot of his understanding of it appears to be that you already have right to repair because of Magnuson Moss, but that really relates to warranty more so than it relates to out-of-warranty repairs. But I very much so like his ideas. I like... What was it? My brain just flawed? Broke? Failed for a second. Robots. I like the passion with which he appears to care about the consumer. I have an exam about the mechanics of materials, but I'm here watching you and your cat. It sounds like you're procrastinating when you shouldn't be. How do you have so little viewers on here? You're awesome. I have few viewers here because I'm boring, that gamer, Craig. I got 12 people. 12 people. I got Eli. I actually have below Eli numbers. How is the city holding up? It's holding up all right. FIT appears to be coming back. That is the trade school right near my store. We'll see if that means we can start getting more walk-in business again. Sure, Bethlem, why not? Go for it. How many real subscribers do you think you have? I think I have somewhere between 20 to 80,000 subscribers for real. Maybe 150. I would say max 150,000. I think everything over 150,000 is either A, somebody used some sort of sub-bot thing on Fiverr to get me more subs, or B, YouTube inflates the numbers. I don't think it makes sense for YouTube to inflate the numbers in a massive scale, so my best guess is somebody decided to troll me by buying me a bunch of subscribers. It doesn't make sense to do that, like for me to do that, because it doesn't actually affect your revenue at all, but I don't buy for a second that I have 1.6 million people. Have you considered advertising right to repair in ham radio magazines or electronic trade magazines? I've honestly never considered paying for advertising for right to repair. I've considered paying for organizing and paying for lobbying, but not paying to advertise it in a magazine. mainly because when it comes to advertising for my own business, I haven't seen paid advertising as something that has been particularly effective. It's often actually the least effective form of advertising that I've ever done from 2009 to the present. I gave you $100 for your new store to install that OSB floor. I felt really bad over the fact that I made that bad decision. And one of the things I went over in a couple of my recent videos were that sometimes it can be really hard to get over the bad decisions that you make in life. And for me, it's honestly been very, very difficult for me to get over many of the bad decisions that I've made in life. One of them was that I did almost everything right on that move, but then since no contractors were getting back to me, the one that I wound up going with was a referral from someone I used to work for, and he was an absolute total scam artist. So I appreciate it. Thank you so very much, and I'm so sorry that I did something bad with it. But yeah, that's the Eugene situation. There are many points in my life where I look at what I did and I just want to punch myself in the face. And there are many times in my life where I felt like I don't deserve the right to forgive myself because of how badly I screwed up. And this move was one of them. Not only did I get the situation with the scamming contractor, but I also moved right before the entire city and arguably world economy dove off a cliff. Not even just, the market is down, but more of a, you're not allowed to go to work, therefore you no longer have money, because even if you had a viable business or job, you're not allowed to go to it. So that has been, yes, I've been kicking myself for that for a while. And if you gave 100 for me to do that, then, you're welcome to come and kick me too. I kind of deserve it. But that's one in a long list of many, many bad mistakes I've made over the course of my life, because in many ways I am an idiot. Your biceps seem pretty cut. No, they're not. That's probably a camera angle or something. I passed your store last month when I went to my doctor's appointment. Wish I could say hi. Oh, well, hi now. Do you regret getting... Oh, damn it. It went away. Will you ever do another collaboration with Linus? How was that experience for you, working with someone too extroverted? I just saw that video yesterday. In the beginning, I thought it was extroversion versus introversion, and I don't think that was so much the case. I think what made it weird when I worked with him is that the content had a script. I didn't have it wasn't a script like it was written, but it was a script in terms of he has a very, very, how about this, professional way of doing production. Like, we're going to do this now, that now. And I just put up a camera and I just curse into it pretty much. Do you think the ease with which customers are able to return items to resellers causes apathy towards right to repair? Not at all, because right to repair is not about the right to return something a week after you get it. Right to repair is about the ability to fix something long after the return period has expired. Do you regret getting the vaccine now that I still have to do jury duty? No, not really. I'm happy to be vaccinated. I get 70K in debt suggests robust conversations in your future. Just remember to uphold your principles at all times. Stay strong, Rossmann. I've upheld my principles to some extent, but I don't think I've upheld them to other extents, particularly in that by making bad life decisions, I think I've screwed over my ability to help those closest to me. And that's where I feel that's where I get the most, that's where the guilt hits me the most. But I've always managed to pick, it always gets to a point where I sit in this chair for a few hours, I beat myself up, and then I just get back up and go to work and do something else. And that's been happening over and over again throughout the course of my life. Like, I remember when my other company was minus 17,000 in the bank and had gone through 150K of a line of credit that it had and was totally destroyed at the end of 2011. I came home, I sat in this chair, damn near wanted to kill myself, got up the next day, started planning for a new store, moved into the new store, put together a plan and a scheme so that I could afford it, and that was that. That's life, You can cry about it, or you can just move on with it. At the end of the day, the truth is the truth. All you can do is live with it, as Dream Theater would say. Thank you to Joseph Rash. Yeah, that line from Dream Theater's 2007 album. The truth is the truth. All you can do is live with it. Have you ever created a haiku? If not, you should. I've never created a poem before, to be honest with you. Have you ever seen Dr. Brett Weinstein talk about the adverse effects of cytotoxicity from COVID vaccines? I haven't listened to a podcast from him since 2017, to be honest with you. It's a long time since I've heard him on a show. What brands do you use for troubleshooting? I've been using Fluke and Tectonics. I use a B&K multimeter not because I need the super accuracy. I could easily use a $5 multimeter for my work. I just use it because it's the cheapest thing that I can use where the figures show up on screen in streams. Serious question, what is your favorite flavor of ice cream? I don't like ice cream, honestly. Typically anything related to peanut butter, though. If it had, probably peanut butter flavored ice cream. Or Reese's. Peanut butter. Usually peanut butter. Are you concerned over the Delta variant and the possibility of closing down the city again? I'm not concerned about the city closing down because all the that shit already happened. I mean, all these offices where my customers are gone, and many of them have voluntarily chosen not to return to the office. IBM has not returned to the office. JP Morgan said, here's 700,000 square feet of office space, have fun. We're not using it anymore. Apple is not returning people to the office. Many companies are choosing to not return people to the office regardless of lockdowns. So I don't see, I'm not afraid of something new coming up. I'm really more concerned with what I do going forward to manage what I've already screwed up, which is moving to a very large place with right before the COVID crap happened. Can you give a shout out to my wife, Megan? She loves your channel. Thank you very much, Megan, for being part of the 3% of the female viewership on this show. Really appreciate it. And I hope you're having a lovely evening. Seems like you have a very quality husband here. And thank you to Keith. With the 9/11 anniversary coming up, can you tell your 9/11 story in perspective? I was in gym class when that happened. And we didn't really know what actually happened until I got out of school and my dad picked me up and we learned about it at the end of the day. Have you been checked for ET? Quit 2 million 4 years ago due to it. Got diagnosed this year. I take meds now. I don't shake at all. Wish I had done it sooner. I'm missing something here. Have you been checked for ET? Extraterrestrials? Quit 2 million 4 years ago. Quit 2 million. Huh. I don't understand. I'm sorry. I think at least 500,000 of them are real estate enthusiasts. Yes, if I actually do have 1.6 million subscribers, like 20,000, 10,000 board repair subscribers, 20,000 random subscribers, probably 800,000 real estate subscribers, if we're being honest. I have an A1466 that will shut down within a few minutes of powering on. No corrosion can be seen. What would you check first? I'd bang my head against the wall, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, if it's anything where it's like shuts down randomly, bang my head against the wall. Yeah, that's the type of stuff that horror is made of. Is it overheating? If it's not overheating, then bang head against wall. What's the likelihood of New York City becoming the next Detroit? I don't think it's going to become the next Detroit. There's, even with all the stuff, people that are leaving, there's still just too much fucking big institutional money here for it to become Detroit. I think it will transform in many ways, but I don't see this ever becoming Detroit. I mean, just look at the apartments. There's a surge in people coming back to live here. The companies are not even back yet. The stores are not back yet, but the apartments are filling up. It's insane. I don't think that this is going to become Detroit. E.T. Essential Tremors. I have been to a doctor about all of these things at times in my life, and some of that stuff, while I genuinely appreciate your $2 and his $5, some stuff I just don't discuss in a public YouTube channel. But I'm well aware of my health, I'm well aware of the issues, and that's that. Hello, sir. I've been following you for almost a year. Well, you should don't free fall too far. Would you accept business partners who are passive investors? Just wondering. I don't know, because in 2011 I made some of the worst business decisions of my life, and it's easy. It would be easy for me to say that. I don't know if I'm being too harsh on myself or not harsh enough on myself when I say that I think I made those because I had a bad business partner. Maybe I would have made those decisions anyway. But I think a big part of it was a lunch that I had where I sat down with him and he just asked, why are we not doing this level of business? Why are we not doing that level yet? And he tried to push me to make more and more sooner and sooner. And the business that I had started with $268 absolutely flourished. And the business that that is so long, it's not going to be on the screen when I'm done reading it. Damn it. How would you go about testing if an iPhone battery is degraded? I've been doing this thing every day for a year and I know it's just charging faster than before, but Apple swears up and down the extra check out. I would not bother because you can buy iPhone batteries for $20. So the amount of time it's going to take you to figure out if it's degraded is likely not worth the $20 it would cost you to get another battery. Bam. I know you don't like that answer, but serious, that's my answer. I don't have some sort of, like lithium analyzer or something in my store. If somebody says their battery is not lasting as long as it used to, you want a new one? If you don't want a new one, I don't know. I know that's not the answer you want, but if you're looking for someone to have some sort of lithium analyzer to be able to tell you, what's what with the battery, I ain't it. Why doesn't stuff like the Wall Street Journal explanation video ever bring up the car repair analogy? I don't know. I wish they did because we had an interview, and I included that in the interview. This is one of the things that, I love Joanna Stern, and I love the work that she does at the Wall Street Journal, and I don't want to belittle it in any way. That being said, and as they say, everything you said before the but doesn't matter. Every time I do an interview with someone in the mainstream media besides Luther at National Review or the gentleman from the American Conservative, every time I've done an interview with anybody in mainstream media, they leave out all the shit that I say that I think is actually valuable in order to make it a shorter article or to be a 6-minute video. And it's why I just find YouTube to be so much more of a valuable medium to get things across to people than any institutional outlet. And it doesn't mean that I don't avoid the institutional outlets. I'll still speak to them all because I understand it matters. But 19% of what I say doesn't make its way through. And that's why I really, really do value platforms like Twitch and YouTube for allowing me to get that message across. If you do end up moving the business to a new location, how many of your employees are willing to follow? So far, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 definite, 2 maybe, and 4 no. It was 5 no, but someone was let go recently, so. Hope my $10 helps the right to repair movement. My question is, any life lessons from years of using Linux or perhaps any lessons from leaving it? Yes. I was not using Linux because it was actually the operating system for me. I was using Linux because I thought that I was smart and cool if I used Linux, and I felt like I was stupid or a loser or a noob if I had to go back to Windows. So rather than focus on the work that I do with the computer and how that work could benefit my bank account, my life, the world, and other people, I was thinking about the computer that I was using rather than what I could do with the computer. And that caused me to use an operating system that drove me nuts for 13 years. So the life lesson I learned from Linux was to not have an ego. And also, let me just rewind because I missed that question on the stream because I really wanted to answer that one even though it happened at the expense of me missing that paid $5 question. So 1 second, I'm just going to rewind over here so I can find that question. Be right back. Hopefully nothing comes... Fuck. Come on, load. YouTube. Don't make me log into Streamlabs for that. Come on. That was a good answer because it's honest. I got pissed at Apple telling me my battery is fine when that goes against my everyday experience. Again, all I can do is see the cycle count of the battery. That's all I can see. I can't see how fast you charge it. I can't see the temperature that you used to use it. I can't see any of that stuff. So if you're happy with your battery, you're happy with your battery. If you're not happy with your battery, here's you can buy another one online for $20 from a good provider, and that's that. Now, sometimes when they say I'm not happy with my battery, and I go, "What battery life does your computer get?" and they go 6 hours, I say, "No, I'm not allowing you to give me money. You're not happy with 6 hours of battery life. So you're definitely not going to be happy with the battery that I give you that maybe has 5.5 or 5 hours and 45 minutes of battery life. But if someone says, my battery's lasting me, I barely use it and I'm at 30% or 20% by lunchtime, then yeah, I can't test your battery, but I can give you another one. But yeah, back to the investment thing. I don't know how much of my initial business failure was me being a fuck-up, and by all means, I am a giant fuck-up at life. How much of that was me being a fuck-up versus how much of that was me being pressured by an investor into constantly having higher and higher figures for gross revenue and profitability? And I wonder if that would happen. I know the way that I treat this business. I know the decisions I've made in the past, which were forward-thinking and long-term, over the short term, and I have sincere doubts that anybody else would have who was investing would make those same decisions. And I know that if I had, I know the first thing they would say. If I had a private investor come in here, I know the first thing they're going to say, because it's the same thing that, like, my girlfriend says. It's the same thing that my dad says. It's the same thing that anybody I talk about business says. Cut every employee's salary by 35%. Like, first day, the first thing they would do is take every fucking salary here and just slash it by 30%. and everybody would be miserable. Like there's a like I know that's what they would say, and I know that's what would happen. Or when I say, listen, I know we're outsourcing board repair for $60, but I want to spend over $15,000 to buy all the shit that I need to do it here, even though I have no experience. A passive investor would look at me and say, get the fuck out of here. I want my money back. I don't want part of this shitty No, you could pay $60 for board repair. You're going to risk that cash flow for this? Like, no. They would say no. But because it was my money, and because I'm 100% owner of my company, I could, because I'm 100% owner of my company, I can make asinine decisions. And sometimes those are good. Like the decision to do board repair in-house, the decision to pay certain managerial level staff and board repair people a higher pay than what was market at the time to get loyalty. Some of this stuff made sense. Some of it fucking didn't. Like moving before COVID, hiring Eugene. Just a number of different things I did that really just made no fucking sense. I can explain the perspective of anti-vax masker. Well, it's good to know you can explain that, but I don't know what to do with that, unfortunately. Do you think Tesla's autopilot will help New York traffic? No. Less people driving will help New York traffic. You have 8.5 million people in a space that's approximately the size of Knoxville, Tennessee. That doesn't work with cars on roads as we currently see them. 8.5 million people in a space around the size of Knoxville. That doesn't work. I worry about you. Why your Christmas tree up? Maybe you're not in a state of mind and health like you think you are. Maybe you're not in a state of mind or health because Christmas trees make you happy, but you allow the culture to tell you that they need to be taken down. If something makes me happy and it doesn't hurt other people, I will continue to do it. These Christmas trees make me happy, so I will keep them up all year round. I will listen to Frank Sinatra's Christmas album in the middle of July, and there's nothing you can do about it. What would a major risk be if you had Rossmann Group in the stock market? Giant failure. Meeting with a person who is somewhat important in my state tomorrow about right to repair, and I feeling over my head talking about an issue I don't know a huge amount about. Any tips, advice, or recommendations? Really ask them what's your concern. Like, don't go in there thinking that you're going to sell somebody. Ask if they've heard of it. Then ask Tennessee, Florida, South Dakota, or Nevada. Tennessee, Florida, South Dakota, or Nevada. But where in that state, I don't know. And I'd like to explore that once I'm done with my Massachusetts trip. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to ask what their concerns are, and then really address their concerns from your perspective. Or address their concerns from their perspective using what you know from your perspective. And you don't just go in there and say, this is why this is important to me, this is why it should matter to you. Ask them, what are your concerns about this? Let me know why you would say no to this. Let me know if you have a no to this. I do support Paul Daniels. Repair Preservation Group actually got him a grant for the Open Board Data Project. We have a project where we want to map out data from known good boards so that a technician who does not have a repair shop as big as mine, with all the boards already there to measure, can actually know what the measurements are in a known good board, even if they don't have the money to buy one. And I'm hoping that that project succeeds vastly over the next few months. I'm very excited about that project. But in the stock market, I think what would happen is if I tried to expand it to do too much too quickly, and the reputation of the business went to shit. It's easy to be known as the best board repair place in the world if you're one store. It's very easy to become the worst one if you try to have 100 stores. What's the last good sandwich you had? Turkey cheddar sandwich at the deli that's on 27th Street and 8th Avenue, right next to the store. Amazing place. Good deli. I can't send you donuts when you are where you are now. This is horrible. Oh, you could if you looked really hard, but no donuts. And no cookie. Especially no cookie. Erica, no cookie. I use my Christmas tree as a nice positive mood ambient nightlight all year round. People find it so mind-boggling. Basic happiness 101. Yeah, I'm not going to let society tell me I can't have a Christmas tree. Would Would you ever accept crypto payment purposes, not long-term investing, just a payment option for customers? Only if it was immediately converted to cash with a low fee at the point of transaction would I consider that. And it integrated with Repair Shopper in a way that was seamless for me. Just purchased an iPhone using iOS for the first time. Compared to Samsung, what's the positive of having an iOS device? Compared to Samsung, the positive of having an iOS device, honestly, the screen, True Tone on that is way better than Comfort View or the blue light filter they have on Samsung. I have a Samsung S10e. I like it. When I look at an iPhone with True Tone, it's 10 times better. Like the screen on it for reading at night. I mean, just reading at all. Like True Tone just gets it right. It hits the spot in a way that this doesn't. It's just you have to use an iPhone to get it, and that's just unfortunately not an option for me. What are your stands on cryptocurrency and blockchain technology? I think blockchain technology has a lot of uses. I think most people right now are using it to speculate and try to get rich quick in a consensual Ponzi scheme format. I'm confident that as time goes on, we will find many, many, many positive uses for blockchain technology. Right now, it's a lot of people that are looking to get rich quick, and it seems like a giant consensual Ponzi scheme. Lewis, it is okay to make bad decisions if you are mindful enough to learn from them. See, that's the if, is that I don't learn from them. There are several bad decisions I've made over the past 12, 13 years where I just kept making the same bad decision over and over again, and I thought they were different decisions each time, but they were not. And that's part of what makes it very difficult to... Who'd you let go? It's the person that always late and offered to pay you to show up on time. No! But he is very close to the chopping block. It was somebody else, and I don't feel like... I appreciate the $5, I really do. I just don't feel like naming and shaming people that I let go or why. But no, it wasn't the person that's always late that I offered almost $1,000 to show up on time to. Although, I thank you for reminding me of that, because that's the next person that should probably get going. I feel really stupid even reading that. Like, over $70K in debt for back rent, because even before there was a PPP, I never stopped paying anybody, even when there was no business. I offer you $1K while I'm in debt, just to show up on time for a week, and you can't even do that. Why do I still employ you? That's a good conversation for me to have tomorrow. Thank you very much for reminding me. Thanks for your work on Right to Repair, says Billy Sweet. Thank you very much. What is this? Let me Google something so I figure out. Okay, excellent. I just Googled this so I could figure out if I should feel bad for banning this person, and I should not. Bye-bye. You're on Twitch, yay. Yes, I've returned to Twitch. The world is hard and unfair. You got to live with it. I really do enjoy that Dream Theater line. The truth is the truth. All you can do is live with it. I sent you an email with the Rossmann Repair Group doc. I saw it. I was busy today, so I fucked up and did not reply. I apologize. I will go through it, Catherine, and I will finally give you permission to the original document. I knew I forgot something. Did you know some anti-vaxxers are taking ivermectin horse dewormer for COVID? You know, I'm a simple dude, man. I go to my doctor if I have a problem and I do what he tells me. Sometimes I don't do what he tells me, but I don't come up with my own prescriptions. So there are times where I've went to a doctor and they've told me that I need things that I don't think I need, and I will not do what they tell me. But I typically don't come up with my own things. Like, for instance, when one of them said I would need quadriceps surgery or I'd never walk again, I didn't do it. I didn't believe it. But I didn't actually try and do my own surgery or take my own medicine. So there are some limitations that I have because I realize that I am not a medical doctor. That stuff, I can't fuck with. Why do you think some employers are still forcing their workers back to the office? A desire for the world to be the way it was before when things made sense, or they made more money and/or had less management hiccups with people at the office, or they're idiots. That's all I can imagine. What new skill would you like to develop as a hobby? Ooh, that's a good one. I tried martial arts for the last year, but I kind of suck at it. What else would I want to try? I tried e-bike building. Well, we could argue I suck at that too. Let's see. I tried board repair. I think I got really good at that. Tried building businesses. I was good at that. Tried becoming a lifeguard. I sucked at that. I don't know what I would want to do as a hobby. I think travel. Travel. I'd like to make travel a hobby at some point. Glad to... I've been trying to reach you about your electric bike extended warranty. You absolute bastard. Okay, I'm behind by 17 minutes in chat. I wish more people would use Twitch than YouTube, because Twitch allows me to scroll through the chat continuously. I can scroll back to the very beginning, whereas YouTube will cut out large portions of the chat if I miss it. So apparently the... What is this? Why are you making me Google things? Okay, I don't know what that is. Old man from Florida subscriber. Hello, Michael. How are you? Do you lend family money if you never see them? I give family money, or I don't give family money. But I will never lend family money, because that's a clusterfuck. Like, I'll give you money, and I'll do it guilt-free, or I'll say, no, I'm not giving you money. But lending family money is a clusterfuck. Have you ever read any part of the Bible? Have you ever considered trying? I recommend the Gospel according to Luke. I don't read the Bible, to be honest with you. It's a lot of the Bible is kind of written the way that Shakespeare is written. It's written in just a manner where it takes a lot of effort for me to understand basic things, so I don't read it much. Roast popular laptop repair in Times Square. Popular laptop repair. Where do you lean politically, business aside? It's hard for me to tell. I mean, my comments, I think that people in my comments think that I'm more right-wing because of what I say, or more libertarian, but I don't think that I'm actually a right-wing libertarian. I just think I'm a person that lives in New York City, and that a lot of people in New York City are so far on the left that that I think I'm right, when in reality I'm just right of them. It's hard for me to tell. It's really hard for me to tell, because when I visit other areas, then I realize what right-wing actually is, and it doesn't seem to be what who the fuck knows? It's hard for me to tell. I know that sounds like a cop-out, but really, the more that I read my comments and the more that I engage with people in all parts of the country, the more I realize it just really is hard to tell. As per request, I've moved now to Twitch so that your precious scrolling is easier. See, at least there's one person out there that cares about me. Thank you to Paul Daniels. But loaning family money, it's kind of like loaning friends money. Like, say no, or just give it. Or in my opinion, and this could be, feel free to do whatever you want. When it comes to friends or family, either give them money or don't give them money, but don't do loans. That's never going to work. Like, they're never going to give it back, and then you're going to be pissed off when they don't give it back, and just fuck all that. What would you expect from a car company to demonstrate this pro right to repair? How would that be different from what you expect from Apple, for example? Well, when it comes to laptops and cell phones, I could tell you exactly what I'm expecting. When it comes to cars, I have no idea, and also I can't answer that because I'm answering this one and shit. And also I don't really have an idea. That's kind of weird. I like living in a country where they give me some kind of freedom. China doesn't really seem as it seems incompatible with my way of life. I don't spend more than an hour a day on a game, but I don't really need the government telling me what I can or can't do. But also, I don't really know anything about that because I haven't really researched China's thing. I don't even know if what you posted there is true or not. And at this point, I've forgotten the last question. Shit. Does anybody in Twitch remember what the last question is? I can't read the YouTube chat yet because I'm like 15 minutes behind on that one. Where was I here? Okay, after the 1 hour limit for kids thing. Before the 1 hour limit for kids thing. There was something before that, but I forgot what it was. Just stopping in and leave cat toy money. Justin, thank you. Yeah, one sec. I'm going to rewind on YouTube, see if I can find it. I can't. YouTube's rewinding slow as shit. Okay, viewer activity. Is it in this window? Fuck. I forgot what it is, and no one's going to tell me. Let's see, what was the question before that one? Ever thought of going affiliate on Twitch? Yes, but they require that you not stream to another platform at the same time. And they don't tell you what they'll pay you prior. When you make Paul Daniel Sweet Mercy the stream donation sounds. It's in the to-do list. I have a very long to-do list, and that's part of the list. 1 second. Very, very close to figuring out what I missed, because I was in the middle of answering something that was good, and I forget what it was now. What would you expect for a car company to demonstrate that they're pro right to repair? Well, I'd have to be a car repairman to know. I'm not really fully tied in to what it is that makes it such a pain in the ass to repair a Tesla versus another electric vehicle? What makes it a pain in the ass to work on a lot of modern things? Like, I have the idea, I have the general theme down, but I don't have the specifics. I imagine what I would need, and thank you very much, Hi for that. What I would need is, son of a... Ring your ass. I was going to record it for you. Stay on the lookout for an email from me in the near future. Thank you. And also email it to lewis@fight2repair.org rather than the YouTube email and my other email, so that I'll actually... This way I actually have a chance of getting to it if it's a right to repair related. With the recent firing, are you hiring? No. One of the interesting things that the manager noticed is someone took a few days off, and there was no difference. There was no difference. There should never be no difference when someone's not there. If Steve's not here, hell, Steve missed a day today. Very palpable, noticeable. Shane missed a day. Very noticeable. Paul misses a day. Very noticeable. Dan misses a day. Very noticeable. You should always notice, I think, when somebody misses a day. But the car question. I understand the general themes, and the themes seem very similar to what it is I deal with laptops. What would I need to see done specifically to know that they were actually, walking the walk and not just talking the talk? I need to be a mechanic, to be honest with you. I can't really answer that question without being a mechanic. Don't ask me what Rich Rebuilds needs to fix a Tesla. Ask Rich Rebuilds what he needs to fix a Tesla. Like, don't ask, don't ask me what you need, what's needed to fix a John Deere tractor. Ask Kevin Kenny what he needs to fix a John Deere tractor. Like that. I subbed in June 2018 for board repair, even though I was never smart enough to understand it. I'm not smart enough to understand it either, trust me. But I've been super into right to repair stuff. Thank you for introducing me to the issue. Thank you, Woke Oak. Joined the Australian Navy last year. Due to COVID, I haven't seen any family or friends in almost 2 years. How has COVID affected your relationships? COVID affected my relationships by putting me in a much more stressed state of mind that has caused me to be a worse friend, a worse boyfriend, a worse employer, a worse son, and a worse business owner. COVID didn't affect me by making it impossible for me to see people. COVID affected me by stressing me out about my future, about finances, and about the general stability of society. And that added anxiety that I had resulted in me being a shittier human being, and therefore being a shittier friend, family member, and so on. Do you think we've reached the point of no return for average Americans being able to afford a house? You know, what's really sad, and I talked about this in a video recently, is that a lot of the homes I was looking at in 2018 are about $300,000 or $400,000 more now than they were in 2018, which means that even if you made $100,000 a year, if you were looking to put that money into a house, you actually made $0, which is crazy. The idea that you could work and have a six-figure salary, and if you measured that salary by housing inflation, you actually made nothing. I shouldn't be laughing because it's sad, but it is. And I think that it depends on the area that you're looking at. Like, there was a house that I posted to Discord the other day. It's in Custer, South Dakota. It's not even that special, and it was $920,000. Like, I'm not going to say it's a bad house, but it wasn't an amazing one, and it's in fucking Custer. Like nothing against Custer, South Dakota. God bless Custer, South Dakota. This area has fucking population of 2,000 people. And it's not like one of those hoity-toity rich neighborhoods where you have gold in the ground or something like that. It's Custer, South Dakota. Why the fuck is this house $920,000? And they're asking $920K for it. So it's like, for a lot of people, you can't even go to the sticks anymore and get something cheap. It's insane. I'm behind in YouTube chat by 20 minutes. 25 minutes, actually. Watching real estate videos, it's crazy how some of these places ask when I can't get $3K for a fully remodeled 3,000 square foot bank with pneumatic drive, though. Yeah, the prices are insane. By the way, if you move to Twitch, I can more easily read your chat because not only is it not behind by 15 minutes, but it also, the scroll, when I scroll to the next page, it's going to erase everything from beforehand. So I was reading stuff from 1046. Now when I scroll up, I can only scroll back to 1053. So everybody from 1046 to 1053, their questions are gone on YouTube. So do consider checking out Twitch. Holy shit, dude, this is a nightmare to sign up to. What are you talking about? What do you mean? There's no signing up. You can go to Twitch for free. Have you ever been on a week-long or more hiking camping trip? I don't think I've ever went hiking for more than like 2 or 3 hours at a time, and I got massive sunburn because I was a dumbass and didn't wear a hat or use sunscreen in a mountain in California. But it was fun. What is the meaning of life? The meaning of life is to find puzzles to solve that make you and others around you happy. I didn't know you were on Twitch. Yes, Twitch. Superior chat. My wife and I just agree with you about the Christmas tree and said boom. Thank you, Joey Olvera. Hi, Lewis. Fanspin, that's all. Hi from Canada. Hello to Canada. I will say hello to all the Canadians in the chat. If we are Americans because we're in America, then as a Canadian, doesn't that mean that you live in Canada? I don't understand the nomenclature. How is it called Canada? How is it Canada? Are you going to create another YouTube channel where you talk about the state of the real estate market? Nah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to have a channel for one specific topic, because then I wind up having 10 different channels. I don't really know what the topic of this one is. Is it like people say, this is a board repair channel. Is it? What were the videos in 2012 about? What were the videos in 2013 about? What were half of the videos in 2014 about? None of them had board repair. When you first started your two businesses, how'd you block out the haters? I started a repair IT business, and my friends say he's not going to make it. He's doing too much. What is your technique? You don't need a technique to ignore them. I'm just not. I can't. I'm too busy with what I'm doing to focus on what other people are saying. If you have time to listen to other people who are crapping on whatever it is you're doing, you're not spending enough time on whatever it is you're doing. Because when I started this shit out, I was advertising nonstop, reading nonstop, visiting customers nonstop, always working. I couldn't listen to the people around me if they had. I didn't have time to log into Facebook to see what other people were saying about me. What do you like in your pizza? Preferably nothing, because I prefer having a lower carb diet. I don't want pizza. It's not healthy. Too many carbs. Not enough nutrition. Pizza's not very nutrient dense. I'm more of a chicken and broccoli for lunch kind of person rather than pizza. Yes, but he can make more money. Graham Stephan had his own business and started doing YouTube full time. He makes millions off of YouTube. He's probably better at this shit than I am. Can viewers donate laptops as support for your business or other devices that may contain dono parts in short supply that are needed for repairs? Sure, absolutely. If I'm going to have a few hundred square feet of real estate I don't have as much use for, might as well fill it with donor stuff. I have tons of donor stuff already, but I'm always happy to take more. I'm sorry to hear that Twitch banned you, Brad Haynes. I do know that you can have spicy posts from time to time, but it's not hard to put homeless in empty property. The thing is, it's like you have people who are homeless because they just fell down in their luck or they missed a few paychecks or they just lost their job. And then you have people that are homeless because they hallucinate to the point where they pull giant metal barriers from construction out of the sidewalk and then start dropping them on cars as they then start to use it as a seesaw right by one of the things that they put around the tree to keep the dogs from going by it, which happened yesterday right outside my store. There are a lot of mental problems that need to be solved that are not just solved by housing, but you most certainly solve a good portion of homeless problems by using that empty space for something other than nothing, for sure. But you also have a lot of people that have some serious mental issues that they need addressed. What's the best way to learn component level repair? don't care if you fail. Work on stuff at your own pace. Work on stuff that it doesn't belong to a customer or somebody else where you don't have stress. Stress is the killer. I need to solve this right now. I need to figure this out right now. Why doesn't this work right now? I need to have this done by 3 o'clock. You're never going to figure it out. You gotta have your own project time where you work on something and there's no pressure, on your own time, and just work on it. Try to figure it out. And watch this channel. Honestly, this channel has over 600 videos that very few people watch that will actually teach you all this stuff. But stop watching my real estate shit. Watch the educational stuff. There's actually some good stuff in there. And there's also some, I'm slacking. I'm now going back to work. Remember what you said. Thanks for the inspiration. Nice word. See you next time. Exactly. You should not have fucking time to listen to people who tell you why your shit's not going to be successful. You should not have time to do that. There should not be enough time in your day to understand what people say about you. Nice to see some board repair streams again recently. Thanks for all you do. Thank you. Yeah, and also, if you want to get started in board repair in addition to the educational videos, I would highly suggest you take a look at this slideshow that I have over here. I'm going to put this in both chats in a moment. Let me just copy and paste it. It's a cat channel. That's definitely part of what it is, but it's not all of what it is. But that's definitely a good portion of it. I mean, I do think Clinton has 2.4 million views in a video now. That's more than 90% of the board repairs I've done. Okay, I just pasted the board repairs, a board repair introduction in there. Thoughts on UBI? UBI is going to go either one of two ways. A, you're going to have that small percentage of the population that otherwise wouldn't have had the ability to work on their own projects produce amazing benefits for society that wind up making up for the cost of UBI to people that don't actually do any work. Or B, it's going to incentivize people who otherwise would work and contribute to society to sit on their ass. I can't really tell you which of the two is going to happen because I don't have a crystal ball to see in the future. But there's this idea that, the Pareto principle, the idea that about the square root of all the people involved in something do half the work. Do you think always being nice is overrated? That needs context. I mean, if somebody's being an asshole to you, then being nice may be overrated. I actually tried being nice to someone who absolutely road raged at me. I was going 28 miles an hour in an area with a 25 mile an hour speed limit. This guy cuts around me. He's like, "Get off the road, you fucking bike!" And then I rode up to his car, like fully ready to smash on his mirror, and something just changed. And let me try a different approach. And I said, "Excuse me, sir. Like, you went to a red light, so you're here just as fast as you would if you didn't pass me. I was going 3 miles an hour over the speed limit. Everybody else here is going the speed limit. I'm just kind of curious, like, why were you that mad?" I just out of curiosity, he's like, "Oh, yeah, okay. Would you have actually gotten past this red light if I wasn't in front of you?" Just think about that. Because there's so many reasons for us to hate each other. Just for a moment, can we just reset and just reset and not hate each other the way everybody else hates each other in the city all the time? Because we're both stressed, and I get it. And he's like, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, man. And he actually smiled. Good place to get large amounts of SMD components. Mouser, DigiKey, and Newark. I prefer Mouser. Mouser.com. And that actually, that's one of the first times I think I've ever tried something like that. And it actually worked. Like, it really, really, really worked. Because the guy, he smiles like, "I'm really sorry. I learned something today." I'm like, "No problem, man. Look, this is my first time doing that too." And I think that's going to stick with him. I think it's going to stick with him. And I think it might stick with me too. But yeah, you can't be nice if people are going out of their way to destroy you or to screw with you or to mess with your life. At some point, you have to understand that being nice, being nice makes sense. Being taken advantage of doesn't. I should say that. Don't allow yourself to be taken advantage of. Never allow yourself to be taken advantage of. Be nice, but don't be taken advantage of. And this is a problem where I can never draw the line between being nice and taken advantage of. And I don't like being taken advantage of. When I realize I'm being taken advantage of, once that switch flips, I tend to very, very quickly cut people out of my life or out of my finances when I realize that they were taking advantage of me. And it often comes as a real surprise to them because they thought they were getting away with it. And they'll come up with their excuses and they'll try to get their way back into my good graces somehow. But once I see that someone's taking advantage of me, I tend to cut them out immediately. But that doesn't mean you should stop being nice. Don't stop being nice, but just make sure you don't get taken advantage of. And if you do, just turn it off like that. Just like that. Just cut off contact and just stop getting taken advantage of. I forget what I was answering before that, to be honest. Oh, the UBI thing. So there's this idea with the Pareto principle, which is that around, I think something like the square root of the people involved in a task are going to do about half of the work. So if you have 9 people, 3 of them are going to be doing half of the productive work. If you have 100,000 people, I think, or 10,000, I honestly forget, I can't do math, then about 100 of them are going to be doing the half of the work, are going to be responsible for half of the output. Well, if that's true, then that means that with UBI, even if over 90% of the people were total scammers that sat home and did nothing, even if a small number of them wind up revolutionizing society in a way that they wouldn't have if they were working at McDonald's, some shitty dead-end job, that maybe that will make up for it, and maybe that will do good things for society. But again, I can't pretend to know how it's going to work out. What would it take for you to incorporate cryptocurrency in your business? Taking payments, payroll, accounts payable. Honestly, it'd have to make sense. It'd have to benefit me in some way. It's just another thing for me to set up. The amount of time it took for me to migrate from PayPal, it took forever just because I had to change all my systems, and it's just a pain in the ass. It's not going to bring in more revenue. I'm not at a point where somebody is going... So, for instance, let's say tips, right? So I used to have these links in all my videos. I think there are like 1,000 of these videos. You can tip us via cryptocurrency. I get like 1 tip a year from cryptocurrency, from YouTube stuff. It's just there's not enough volume there for it to be worth my time to say, instead of doing. I agree with that saying. There's not enough people that are saying, I would use you, but I'm not going to use you because you don't take crypto, for it to be worth my time to take an hour out of my day to research the provider, and then take a few more hours out of my day to figure out how to have that automatically sync to QuickBooks so that I'm not making a manual fucking entry in QuickBooks. It has to sync with my POS system. I am not doing manual entries in QuickBooks for transactions ever again. Fuck that. No. We ring you up, go straight to QuickBooks, and I have to figure out a way for it to be sync with my current POS system, and it would also have to be something that immediately converts into dollars, because I'm not dealing with currency that goes from 30K to 60K and then back to 28K in a matter of weeks. That's way too volatile. I'm not rich. I can't deal with that level of volatility. Neither can my employees. But the main thing is it would have to be worth it. It would have to be worth my time. And right now it just is not at a point where it's worth my time, because I don't have people beating down my door saying, I would have used you, but I'm not going to use you because you don't take cryptocurrency. If that were the case, then I'd have to get off my ass and, do something about it. But right now, it's just not worth my time. Why are your previous live streams unlisted? I can't find them on your channel. I unlist them because I want to unlist them. They are unlisted because they are unlisted. That is why they are unlisted. Don't be nosy. Don't be nosy. The 1 hour thing is a kid distraction excuse for mandated government ID. I have no idea about that in China. My father is a mechanic. New cars are very difficult to work on. Huh. I hear that a lot. I have an iPad 2 from 2009. It needs a digitizer, aux port, and a transmitter. Please help me. I can't really do much for you there, because the amount of money that it costs to do those repairs costs more than what the iPad is worth. When it comes to phones, are the cheaper phones better when it comes to real features like headphone ports and card slots? Honestly, yes. The reason I didn't buy one of the cheaper Samsungs is because the camera had horrible stabilization, and I do like to walk around outside with it. But going forward, I can't buy a device where you don't have a micro SD card slot or a headphone slot. I'm just not buying it. Similar message, thanks for revealing the truth on Apple, for many hours of teaching on electronics diagnostics, for reminding me never to move to New York City, and thank you many more times for advocating for right to repair. Greetings from Melbourne, Australia. Thank you. All 10 companies in general are locking root phones to force people to buy new phones. They're not forcing you to buy a new phone when they lock the bootloader, they're just forcing you to use their crappy operating system. Ever heard of the Main Implied Warranty Law? I've never heard of that. I have no idea what that is. Main Implied Warranty Law. I don't know how well they'd be able to enforce that because they're a smaller state, but let's see. I just Googled it. Main Implied Warranty Law, and Google's not... Oh, are you serious? How is this even streaming if Google's not loading? Google.com. This has to be a troll. Oh, this has to be a troll. Okay, Google's not responding. Okay, that's interesting. All right. Let's say DuckDuckGo.com. Is my browser not working? What the? Is my stream still here? I can't actually Google something right now. Main implied warranty law. Here we go. The Main implied warranty law is a little-known law that protects Main customers from being sold seriously defective items. If the item is seriously defective, the consumer did not damage it, the item is still within its useful life and not simply worn out. Huh. I had never heard of that. I wonder if that would apply to FlexGate on Apple products, but I also wonder if that state is willing to take that up in their legislature. When I was speaking to a politician in Maine about right to repair, there was someone who had emailed the guy. He lived down the block from him, and the politician said, I haven't checked my government email since I was elected because I can't figure out how to make it work. So I don't have the most faith in them enforcing that. But we'll see. Can you recommend a good phone that has a headphone jack, replaceable battery, and no lock bootloader? Sony XP8, maybe? I don't know. I think does a Sony XP8 have a lock bootloader? Damn. Yeah, I mean, I have a Samsung. I don't even know, honestly. I have a Samsung S10e. I wanted a phone with a micro SD card, headphone jack, so I could put my microphone in that fit in my hand, and I could not find a single thing that fit all three of those characteristics that had a replaceable battery. Another way on UBI is negative income tax. What is the difference there, though? It sounds like the same idea. Let's see, I'm behind 20 minutes. I want to say I'm forever grateful for the video that talked about your failures in life. It's got me through some tough times and is the reason I'm in a much better place now. I'm very glad. Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it. Don't insult me like that, silly boy. What are your thoughts on System 76? I'm planning on getting one of their laptops. I'm just wondering if you've seen one in person. I have never seen one in person. I do have a framework that arrived at the store today, and I'd love to check it out tomorrow. I may be live streaming a review of it, but I have no idea how to review products, so that's going to be probably a shitty video. But I've never seen a System 76 in person. I did get to speak with a gentleman at System 76. There's an interview on this channel. It went very, very well. I think that they have their heads screwed on right as a business, at least from that interview. It's a company that I would feel comfortable doing business with. I recommend any Motorola. I had 5 of them. I thoroughly enjoyed my Moto G. The problem I had is that as you go up the scale, you don't have the same stuff you had at the bottom of the scale. So, for instance, I had my Moto G. Affordable, didn't have this edge shit with the screen wrapping around the side or whatever. I get a more expensive one. You try a more expensive one, and it doesn't fit in my hand anymore. I bought the Moto G because it fit in my hand, but if I want to pay them more money for a higher-end phone with a better screen or a better camera, I can't buy one that fits in my hand. So for me, Moto is only good if the G series works. If it doesn't work, then I'm screwed because every other phone they make doesn't actually fit in my hand anymore. When do you think the real estate bubble is going to pop just like a cheap tantalum cap? I have no idea, man. Peter Schiff was calling for the stock market to crash back down to the 100, 200, the 100 range or so for like, what, 5, 10 years now? Who the F knows? Don't try to time anything. I can't time anything like that. Probably when I'm dead. I will probably wait till I'm dead just to make sure that I'm not able to buy an apartment or a house anytime soon. You need to focus your YouTube videos. You are kind of all over the place. I suppose if I wanted to do this as a career, I'd have to focus my videos. But the thing is, I've had people tell me that I should consider doing YouTube professionally. But I think the entire appeal of the channel is that it's just a dude talking into a microphone. Like, here's Lewis riding a bike. Here's Lewis fixing a board. Here's Lewis speaking on right to repair at a hearing. Here's Lewis ranting about the news. If I actually tried to, what would the professional version of this channel be? What would the focused version of this channel be? And if it was scripted, If it got to the point where everything was scripted and I had a writing team that came up with everything and a makeup team that made sure that my face wasn't shiny and a camera team that did the white balance on the camera and all that type of stuff, would you actually watch? Or would it not have a viewership anymore because it changed into being something that it wasn't? Any thoughts on how long it will take before AI will be able to drive board repairs? Bro, AI can't even drive when you have fucking lines on the road. And if you don't, and don't give me shit about that, I've been inside of a Tesla with autopilot on. I know exactly how bad that shit can be. AI can't even drive a fucking car when you have lines on the road. And you expect AI to do a board repair? 50 years minimum. 50 years absolute minimum. You talk to your landlord. I made my proposal. We'll see what they say. Hey, Lewis, I just want to know if you know of any Canadian right to repair groups. I don't know anybody in Canada besides Linus the Tech Tips. I am aware of the importance of right to repair to a political party I support. I will not go into detail. I believe it's not appropriate in election season. Any groups you know? The only person I know is Linus the Tech Tips. That's it. I've never met anybody else in Canada before. What's your opinion on Greg Abbott? To me, he feels like Texas' Cuomo, and I can't stand him looking at his punchable face. Him and Cruz make me sick. If they just said, listen, man, we're against lockdowns and we're not going to mandate masks, that's one thing. But they started to go Cuomo in the other direction when they said, we are going to ban mask mandates. So it's kind of like they're going authoritarian, but they're going authoritarian on not being authoritarian. So if you become an authoritarian to keep others from being authoritarian, is that authoritarian or not? It's a conundrum. My personal preference would be authoritarian in the direction of not allowing authoritarians, but fuck me, that's another one. 1 second. I'm working on an A1980 PP bus is not stable and pulsing from 4 to 10 volts max, and also PP3v3 is only 2.4. Any thoughts? Can it be T2 chip? I can't solve a board repair right now. It's 11:30 on a night, and there's another question. I feel bad. I want to refund you your $7. I can't solve that right now. PP3v3 G3 hot needs to be 3.3 volts. Figure out why you're only getting 2.4. I'm guessing that PP bus is going up and down. Firstly, on that board, actually, you need PP bus to be stable before PP3v3 is going to be stable. So you need to figure out why PP bus is going up and down first. Do you have a short circuit? Is your ISL 9240 working properly? Is your TT working properly? But yeah, I'm not able to solve board questions right now. I could solve it in a forum where I could sit down, I could think, I could check my schematic, but this is not the format for it, unfortunately. I feel really bad. Email me to get your money back, lewis@rossmanngroup.com. I have no way to answer complicated board questions in this format where there's a question coming up on the screen every 20 seconds. Your and Erica's channel are the only ones I've ever wasted money on. In my book, your channel is perfect as is. Focusing it might not improve it. I agree. Yeah, I feel bad. You can email me to get email me the address you donated that from, and if you have proof of it, then I'll find a way to give you your $7 back. But I don't know how to answer a board repair question in this format. I got to look through the schematic. I got to think for a while. This is just not the format for it. I have lots of respect for you, and I appreciate what you're doing on Right to Repair and sharing your knowledge for us all to learn from. Thank you. Have you tried Comma AI? It's better than Tesla AI, and they support more cars. I have not tried it. But with regards to the Texas and the Cuomo thing, when they did the abortion thing, it's weird because I lean pro-life, but at the same time, having people rat on each other and sue each other is not the fucking way to do it. It's like in New York City where they wanted you to socially distance, but de Blasio put up a tip line where you could send pictures to the city of people not properly socially distancing to get them in trouble. It's I get the exact same feeling when I read about the Texas abortion bill as someone who tends to lean pro-life, because I was told by a family member that they wanted to fucking abort me, and that one of the reasons they didn't is because there was a societal stigma about it at the time. That's one of the fastest ways to convert a pro-choice person to a pro-life person. Have their mother say they were about to abort them, and they probably should have. Yeah, that'll do it. But anyway, what the Texas governor did with the abortion thing, it really seems very similar to me to what de Blasio was doing, not Cuomo, what de Blasio was doing with having a tip line and having people rat on each other for not socially distancing. It's like the right-wing version of what de Blasio is doing, and I don't like it. The whole mask thing, again, if they had just said, listen, we're not pro-lockdown, you should get a vaccine, but we're not going to mandate it. You should wear a mask, but we're not going to mandate it, and we're not going to do lockdowns. Fine. You're done. You've appeased your right-wing base. You have allowed your state to be free, and you're done. But no, you had to go, we're going to ban mask mandates. So even if you want to have a mask mandate in your facility, you're not allowed to do that. Like, come on. I mean, there's not really much there. It's just, why? Like Ron DeSantis, like, again, with Ron DeSantis, like, he did the same thing. He was against lockdown. Great. He was against having a vaccine mandate while being pro-vaccine. Great. Fine. But now you're saying, like, you're not allowing places to have mandates, even if they want to have mandates in their county or in their school or in their business. It's like, come on. Again, like, you could have made... You could have... I'll put this... Like, you could have stopped over here and been good. But you had to keep going. And it's like, what do you get out of keep going? I don't get it. Again, like, I would prefer their clusterfuck to our clusterfuck when it comes to, like, again, if I had to choose which government clusterfuck would I like to deal with, their clusterfuck is in the direction that I think I'd be more comfortable with, but I'd rather it just not be a clusterfuck. Exactly, pro-birth is not pro-life. Well, one of the things is I need to be born to live, so I'm definitely pro being born. The whole snitching on your neighbors thing is becoming way too popular among public officials. I've seen this movie before. I agree, and that's why the Texas abortion shit just creeps me the fuck out. Again, as someone who's not the biggest fan of abortion for the reason I stated, that shit it creeps me. It creeped me out the exact same way that the de Blasio thing, where he had a tip line where you could text pictures of people that were not properly socially distancing. They're like, no, fuck you. Fuck you and that shit. Fuck you with the rusty spoon for trying that shit. And I got the exact same vibe when I was reading about the Texas abortion thing. Like, I got the exact same vibe, and it freaked me out. You plan to be on Breaking Points again soon. I don't know. I explained what I had to explain. They asked me about being on. I showed up. If they want me back on, sure. But I don't really know what I talk about because I kind of gave my point. Mother should have a choice, but do the babies. That's where I'm willing to and openly willing to say that I am being a selfish piece of shit. And I in the last live stream, I covered this to an extent. And I said I don't typically discuss abortion because I am too biased and I'm also too emotional on the subject based on my own experience. When your parent says, I probably should have aborted you and I would have if not for X, it sends a chill up your spine. And that chill tends to change your perception of it. So for me, it's very difficult for me to have a rational discussion about it because of my experience. And I accept that. I'm likely not able to engage in a rational discussion about it based on my experience. And I try to be honest about it rather than, scream. Vacuum exhaust out the window, cheap fume extractor. That's not bad. It's better than nothing. Most people do nothing. Genuinely, most people do nothing. So that's better than nothing. I still give every employee here a Hacko FA430. If you're going to show up to work and I'm going to ask you to sit in front of fumes all day, I'd better have a fucking way of not having you inhale them all day. That responsibility is on me. But if you're sitting at home and you're only dealing with you, then obviously you can lower the expectation. I have a Hacko FA430 at every desk because I'm the employer. And as the employer, I can't give you a fucking workspace where you're inhaling shit all day. When have you gotten right to repair passed across the U.S.? Do you plan on moving to getting anything like net neutrality to be written into law? I'm not focusing on net neutrality. Once I'm done with right to repair, there's another issue that Mr. Lumberton knows exactly what I'm talking about here, if he's in the chat, that I would like to address. It's not anywhere near net neutrality. What I've done is I wanted to take this on several years ago, but I realized that I don't think I've earned the right to because I haven't succeeded enough with smaller issues. So once a smaller, easier issue like right to repair, once I get that done, there's something else I want to tackle, but I can't tell you what it is until I have enough... until I have enough clout, money, and power to be able to actually make a dent in it without getting destroyed. But that's a topic for 10 years into the future. That's a plan for my 40s. I hope to get right to repair passed in my 30s, into my 40s. You're too much of an intense person for me to like in person, but I also know that's what enables you to do what you do in right to repair community so well. In person, I'm not really intense. Honestly, in person, I just kind of sit down and mind my business. In person, I'm not a bombastic human being. I just kind of sit down and mind my business and wonder why. The lesson about not losing your temper has been coming up for me. You lose your temper, you lose your talent. Yeah. Yelling at someone usually causes him or her to consider the exact opposite of whatever you're yelling. And I really did learn that one lesson with that one guy that I wanted to yell at so bad. I just had a conversation with him. He apologized. He was road raging and he apologized. Like, I learned something today. Thank you. Gave him a fist bump through the window, and that was that. Being taken advantage of makes you resentful and angry. It really does. And again, I try to be very nice, but I hate being taken advantage of. And I often wind up I lean on being too nice, and I wind up getting taken advantage of. And then the moment that I learn it, I just shut it off immediately. And then people are like, why'd you change? Why are you being so mean now? Why? That's cruel. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you? You knew what you were doing. You knew what you were doing. I don't need to give you notice. You knew exactly what you were doing, and you got away with it. You should just be happy that you got away with it for as long as you did, rather than be mad that I'm only noticing it now. That's the thing I notice when people take advantage. What they do is, instead of just being happy that for 6 months or a year or 2 years or 5 years or 10 years that they were getting over, they can't be happy that they got over on you for 5 or 10 years. They need to then just like say, oh, well, I wish you had given me more notice, or I wish you had told me that. I wish you had, told me a while back. Yeah, I should have told you a year ago to fuck off. But now I noticed what you were doing, so I'm going to tell you to fuck off now. I'm not going to wait 2 to 6 months and allow you to keep doing it. Usually, the longest anything like that has lasted for me has been like a year or two. But very on point, Jennifer Montgomery. And also, I absolutely love your YouTube avatar. That little green crystal ball thing looks so cool. The pixel ball. Where can I find all your videos in one place? YouTube.com/Rossmann Group. Thoughts on the Samsung Fold, not Flip 3? I have no desire for a folding phone. None. Never have I thought to myself, I would love this phone if it was bigger and folded. I want a phone that fits in my hand that's affordable. I don't need it to fold. I don't need it to have 8 cameras on it. I don't need it to have some stupid, crazy-ass features. I don't need it to make my face look like a donkey or a horse or a koala. I don't want to be turned into an emoji. I want a phone that fits in my fucking hand, that's affordable, that I can unlock the bootloader on, change the battery on, doesn't freeze all the time. What is the worst mistake you've ever made in life? There's too many to even... I've made too many mistakes to even consider what the worst one is. As of today, the total death rate of COVID in the U.S. is 650,000 out of 330 million people, which is 0.2%. If that rate is an acceptable point to impose draconian measures, what point is not acceptable to you? I don't think that point is acceptable to me to propose draconian measures, and I haven't. Again, I don't think that asking people to wear a mask is a horrible thing to do, and I don't think getting vaccinated is a horrible thing to do. I do think that that lockdowns, that universal lockdowns of all people in almost all industries, are horrible things to do, and I was never for them. Have you ever considered starting a small location in your new favorite state to send the repairs to? Brad, the problem there is that I'd have to move the people there to do them, or find people there, and I've thought about it, but I'd have to figure out what the state is. I've narrowed it down to Florida, Nevada, Tennessee, or South Dakota. Can you let's see, read that one. By the way, Mr. Clinton's over here. He's so adorable. He is so cute. Read that one. PP Bus G3 Hot is not stable and only going at 10 volts max from 4 volts, and also PP3V3 is only 2.4. PP3V3 G3 Hot is only 2.4 because on your particular model, PP Bus actually comes before PP3V3 G3 Hot, so you need PP Bus first. However, it could be a current sense issue, T2 chip. I have no idea. Big question, which is better? Number or letter number trains in New York City? The lettered trains are better because they're 7 inches wider. Serious, measure it sometime. Measure the A train versus the 1 train. It's a full 7 inches larger. I know you may be thinking that it's just an optical illusion. It's not. If you thought the lettered trains are wider, they are. I may disagree on some stuff, but thanks a ton for explaining exactly how you think on issues. Help me with a lot of my arguments, particularly with right to repair. Good luck and good night. Thank you very much, Potato Pig. And it's good to disagree as long as you don't, hate each other and throw crap and straw man and make things up and all that. We probably both want a good world. We probably both want to see a better world, and we're probably both working towards seeing a better world and making the world a better place for people in our own small way. We just disagree on how to get there is all. But that doesn't mean that we have to hate each other. Let's see. Okay, on YouTube, everything from 11:28 to 11:31 is gone. What share is that? Will it be on the website? That share is actually in my YouTube description right now, and I will put it in the chat. 1 second, let me find it. I'm going to put it in the chat. Here we go. Are you ready to get influenced? You're about to get influenced. Influenced. Look at that. Rampant consumerism right there for you. Take that, Graham Stephan. Someone mentioned that he makes millions off YouTube. He's doing YouTube right. Someone said I should shill, I shill my chair. I built robots that replace jobs. Your estimate of 50 years seems about right. Yeah, again, like anybody who has a whole lot of confidence in AI, try a Tesla with full self-driving and try to use auto park. Try to get the car to park in a parking spot, in a parking lot that has no people walking in it and no cars moving in it, and just watch. If you ever want to come to Bedford, Virginia, I've got a 2,000-foot building on Main Street for $1,500 a month and willing to fit the building up to your knees. Bedford, Virginia. That sounds... Clinton! I guess that's an omen. I don't know if Clinton wants to go to Bedford, Virginia. I do have a friend and a moderator in this Discord in Virginia Beach that I was going to visit back in April, and I fucked up and I forgot, and I never made the time for it. I did want to visit where he is in Virginia Beach. Clinton! But Clinton seems to be afraid of Virginia. He literally jumped off and dug his nails into the chair when you said Virginia. Clinton! Oh, good boy. Hugs from Latvia to you, Erica, and your kitties. Thank you, Cristiano. Hope everything is good with you in Latvia. Oh my God, Louis, don't get political, someone said. Oh well, too late for that. I think I answered someone's question. Banning a mandate does not bar you from wearing a mask. Oh, did my mouse die? You piece of It did, didn't it? Battery. You son of a bitch. Simply to buy Oreo and Mr. Clinton extra treats. Thank you. Uh-oh. I need to find a battery. Do you know if we have a AA battery, Erica? Erica did. Okay. Be right back. Don't ask anything. I'm not going to see it. We got to get a battery. What are your thoughts on cryptocurrency? I think for most people, many people are trying to use it as a get-rich-quick scheme, and it seems to be a consensual Ponzi scheme that people convince themselves is investing. I think the technology, blockchain technology, has a lot of potential implementations, but yeah, I think right now a lot of people are just using it as a consensual Ponzi scheme. Come to Iowa and help us with right to repair here. Once I'm done with my Massachusetts trip, I just got to wait for the world's slowest print shop to finish printing everything. What do you think about the M1X? I have no idea what that is. I've got plenty of experience as a hardware engineer. I'm looking to do some consulting on the side as an analog systems engineer. Put your email in the chat, and maybe someone who needs consulting as an analog systems engineer will reach out to you. I wish you the best of luck with what you're doing. The same people who scream and cry about unborn children just as likely to deny a starving 5-year-old a few bucks for a meal. If a starving 5-year-old came up to me and said I was starving, I'd probably buy them something to eat. Any thought on teleporting subatomic orbitals? You're asking the wrong guy. You should ask someone that has a brain. I have no idea what that is. Would you support a minimum required warranty period for all third-party repairs for right to repair legislation be passed? If so, what would this warranty period be? I think that to have a license in many areas, you need a minimum warranty period. Like in New York, I think it's 45 days, which admittedly I think is too short. I think somewhere between 90 days to a year makes more sense. But that's usually dealt with at the licensing level. I think it would be redundant to include it in a right to repair law because it could potentially trump the pre-existing licensing laws in the state. So if the Department of Consumer Affairs also how's it sell for about $100K, rent for $900. Okay, fine, you got me. Writing down Bedford, Virginia right now. Bedford, Virginia. Look at this later. M1X is Apple's new chip. Yeah. I don't really think much about chips. It's like, let me guess, it's going to be faster than last year's. Ooh. I don't get excited about a chip that's being like 10% faster or slower than last year's. You're a man, not your body, not your say. I think it was my body. At least it would have been my body that was getting put in a medical waste container. Let's see. If a kid is going to be dead or living a life of hell because you did too much cocaine while pregnant and are worth $200, would you agree that it's better not putting anything through that? I mean, if the kid is going to be damaged beyond belief, I could understand the point for abortion there. If the idea is that, well, the person's going to have a bad parent, therefore they shouldn't exist, I think I don't know how much I agree with that because I'm the one who breaks in my bike when going down the Williamsburg Bridge because I get scared. Have a good night. It's very difficult for me to wish that you have a good night now that you've told me that that's you. Consider investing in elbow pads, protective gear for your hands, protective gear for your knees, and a superior helmet. And then learn how to ride down the Williamsburg Bridge without your damn brakes on. That pisses me off so much. But there's this idea that if a kid is going to have a bad parent, he may be better off not existing. And I don't know. I went through the childhood that I went through. I'll be honest with you, I actually kind of agreed with that when I was a teenager. Because I hated my life so much that I kind of thought maybe I would have been better off if she did what she said she was going to do. And then I became a grown-up, and then I realized how good life can actually be in spite of the childhood that you have or having a shitty parent. And then I realized, wow, I'm actually really kind of happy to be alive. You know, my mother wound up offing herself with a bunch of pills and alcohol because she had serious, serious, serious problems. She was a horrible human being while she was alive, in many, many ways. But I'm really happy that I'm here. I'm quite happy that I'm here. I think I've put too much time into that subject, so I will move on. But I am happy I exist. I make lots of mistakes. I make lots of fuck-ups, but I do try to leave the world better than I had it. And I kind of think about that from time to time. Like, if I was this close to not being here, maybe I shouldn't have been here. Maybe it means that I should actually try to leave the world slightly better than I had it to kind of justify my own existence. Yeah, I don't really know how much that has to do with your original question, though. Next topic. Let's see. Next topic. I've been told by my local service center, each bug report goes directly to Tesla headquarters and eventually improves the whole system. Excuse me if I have my doubts. Hopefully that's true. Thoughts on e-girls and OnlyFans? I'm fucking stunned. I mean, we live in a time where porn is free. Like 4K, high quality porn, all sorts of pictures of all. We have enough porn that exists. We have enough. Why would anybody pay for it? It's beyond me. I don't get it. I don't understand it, but I don't have to understand it for it to exist. I think it just has to do with there being a lot of lonely people in the world. There's a lot of lonely people in the world, and I think that they create connections with the people that they're paying for the pictures or the videos for on those websites. I think that is a mess. But it's not something I'd want to do. I guess the fact that I'm not hot means that I don't ever it's never entered my mind. Maybe I could solve financial woes by using that site. Sometimes I'm kind of happy that I'm not exceptionally attractive, because if I was, in the back of my mind, I'd be wondering, should I open an OnlyFans? Would it make sense to? And I don't have that as an option. I'm actually kind of thankful that I don't, because I can't ever even remotely go to that place when I'm broke. Does this imply you won't make an OnlyFans, Oreo? I've talked with Erica about doing an OnlyFans on April Fools and signing up people based on pictures of her, and then they join and it's just pictures of Oreo. Because on her channel in the very beginning, early days, she would just do nothing but post pictures and videos of Oreo. Like Oreo sleeping. It would be a 2 or 3 hour long stream of just Oreo sleeping. So I've talked with her about opening an OnlyFans on April Fools and me advertising it, and then everybody signs up and it's just pictures of Oreo, but that would be kind of fucked up. That would be bringing attention that I don't really want to bring on myself. Is Texas in the cards for your new location? It isn't because of high property tax and the energy thing earlier this year. If they had just admitted that they had problems, I would have been okay with it. But when they started to scapegoat green energy for why things failed and the temperatures, when Iowa has temperatures that are about 20 degrees colder and didn't have any of these problems, combine that with the 2% property tax, and I was slightly less interested in Texas. How right to repair philosophy deals with freedom. One could argue all companies have the right to put as many walls for repairing their own products. Typically, what they do is they use the DMCA to do that. So it's very difficult for me to listen to a corporate lobbyist who talks about freedom when saying we should be free to have these restrictions. It's very difficult for me to take seriously a lobbyist that speaks as an anarcho-capitalist while simultaneously giving a full-throated defense of the DMCA. It's one or the other. Okay, you want freedom? Let's do full freedom. Let's get rid of it. Let's get rid of patents. Let's get rid of intellectual property. Let's get rid of the DMCA. I'm for you. You're not interested anymore, Mr. Anarcho-capitalist lobbyist. Okay, suck a dick. That's really what happens. That's really what happens. Linus made one, LOL. Linus made what? What is one? Why? Stop using pronouns. Use words. Use full nouns. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? But again, if you're anarcho-capitalist, fine. Go full anarcho-capitalist. No DMCA. No DMCA. I don't want to see the same fuckface that showed up talking about freedom and deregulation simultaneously showing up to explain that there should not be a repair exemption to the DMCA under copyright law. I am sick and tired of that. The problem I have with the libertarian argument against right to repair is that when it comes from opposition lobbyists, it's never principled. It's never even the slightest bit principled, because the moment you talk about actually getting rid of any sort of regulation that helps them maintain the bullshit market they have, they scream foul play, and it's so disgusting. Another thing, a saying I like is judge no one uncommon. That means each one person is capable of good and terrible things, says Jennifer Montgomery. I agree. It's why I try to keep people from idolizing me, because I'm probably capable of horrible things as well. I fight for good things, but I'm also probably a piece of shit, too. You say you're too ugly. Why don't you become a VTuber? What the hell is a VTuber? I know YouTuber. What is VTuber? Is that like when you have someone from the old country try to pronounce YouTube? Yes, I'm on YouTube. I don't understand what the hell VTuber is. I don't know what that is. Everyone forgot all about COVID, and all of a sudden, just like a snap of the fingers, everyone's all scared again. Unbelievable. It depends where you are. In many areas, people never stop being scared. Everything is remix. Good pro right to repair commentary. Huh. You had me rolling on the floor with your jury duty, restaurant, and deli prices. Wearing a mask or working out at a gym is horrible. I agree. That's why I built a gym. That's why I built the gym in my store. It's virtual tuber, pretty much having a virtual avatar instead of you having your face on videos. And how do you know that, Hi? How do you know that? Love you, Lou. Thank you, Air Can Duster. Lewis and the guy who breaks going downhill the Williamsburg Bridge. I'm not sorry. I'm going to time you out. I want you to spend the 600 seconds that you're spending in timeout to think about that. That's horrible. Texas asked to fire up some coal plants as they knew green energy would not cut it. First had people on Biden's hand when he said no. Oh, that's nonsense. Iowa has lower temperatures than Texas did, and they did not have problems with their infrastructure. Rather than admitting that they had a problem, they wanted to scapegoat green energy, and that was bullshit. I live in a state that refuses to accept it has problems. I live in a state that refuses to admit what its problems actually are, that comes up with bullshit asinine reasons to pander to people rather than actually deal with its own problems. And I don't want to move to a state that does the exact same shit. Like, I looked up to Texas. I thought Texas is great. That green, I'm serious, that energy thing earlier this year, it pissed me the fuck off because I actually liked Texas as an escape, as a place that was on my list. And when they did that, I was like, instead of saying, listen, man, we kind of fucked up on our infrastructure. Yeah, we kind of fucked. And it's so easy to disprove that that green energy was at fault for it. It's the implementation of it. It's how you implemented it that sucked. Okay, so it's cold weather that did it. Why is the same problem not happening in Iowa? It's 20 degrees colder there than it was when you had your storm. I don't know, that just pissed me off. Texas is too good of a state to have politicians that don't take accountability and responsibility when they screw something up. And it deserves better. Mises believed copyright was inconsistent with ANCAPism, but Rothbard defended it as a natural extension of right to contract. Have you read that? I remember reading something from Stephen Kinsella on intellectual property a few years ago, but it was long enough ago that I've forgotten most of it now. But I haven't read that argument between Rothbard and Mises. I have a very low-resolution opinion on it, a very low-resolution opinion, which is that it has gone too far, because it's not my area of expertise. So my very low-resolution, low-intellect opinion there is that intellectual property law, the copyright law, patent law, and the DMCA, it's all gone too far in one direction and needs to kind of swing back in the other direction. And I get it, you need to encourage innovation, but at this point it's doing the opposite. And the issue there is, if the whole point of it was to encourage innovation, but you get to a point where you're keeping people from doing the very things that cause them to get into electronics, like Steve Wozniak. If your laws are so restrictive that people never actually try to tinker, try to open things up, try to fix them, try to become engineers, then you're actually going to wind up robbing the world of the very innovation that you claim that legislation is there to protect. I feel like people would be more accepting of COVID policy if most of it makes sense. Reduce shopping hours by half, 2 times the people in the building. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think a lot of people that are COVID deniers are people that would have been if everything were handled differently from the beginning. I can separate my dumbass local politicians from science. I did a video earlier in the year. It said, don't give science a bad name because our politicians are fools, or don't distrust science because our politicians are fools. And I tried to separate the two. I get it. De Blasio and Cuomo have their idiotic indoor-outdoor dining thing because they want a virtue signal for the camera that they care about even one life, while being total pussies when it comes to actually enforcing their shitty policy because they are too big of a pussy to actually go up to a business owner and say, "Hey, I hope you and your employees starve while you go completely out of business and ruin your life so that I can look good for the camera." They're not going to do that. So that's why they're going to have your little shack on the street, no enforcement of it whatsoever, while saying to the camera that we care about saving even just one life. And people are going to say, well, look, if that's science, then I'm against science. I don't do that. I look at that and I go, my politician is a moron. Science is the scientific method is a good thing. I believe in science. I don't believe in fucking Cuomo or de Blasio, but I believe in science. And those are two very different things. Also, the guy that keeps his brakes on when he goes down the bridge actually has an avatar of a child crying. I'm not surprised. Oh, man. I'm looking at buying a 1,500 square foot house for $200,000. It's close to a big town, a couple of hours from Atlanta. Prices may be high, but there is hope. That's nice. $200K for a 1,500 square foot house? That's not bad at all. Lack of accountability and responsibility is effed up. I agree. Is it after midnight over there? It is 12:07. Where'd my video go? Video! There we go. You survived the flooding. I did. Possible issue with Bedford is relatively low population of trying another walk-in store. Yeah, but if it was cheap, it wouldn't really matter. I would just take the mail-in business and be done. Ass or tits, says Sootha. Ass. Tits you're born with. Ass you work for. Technically, you can also be born more genetically disposed to having a giant ass, but admittedly, ass is something that I think you have a little bit more say over, whereas tits is literally just something you're born with. Outdoor dining is bullshit. Can't find parking anywhere. Does your car work, Sonny? Did they ever fix it? Or is your fucking light still making your battery go dead? Sonny has a Tesla Model X, and it's such a piece of shit that there's a light that stays on and it never fucking turns off, and they didn't fix it for him. And it's like the last 2 times he went there, and it winds up killing the fucking battery. It's a headlight in this car, and the way he fixed it is the way almost every. It's one of the ways my ex-girlfriend used to fix her car. When she had a check engine light, she put a piece of tape over it. He has a light that stays on inside that kills his battery. He puts a piece of tape over it. What do you think would happen in New York City and nationally if commercial real estate rapidly found its true value? I think a lot of people's retirement portfolios would go under. I think banks would go under as well because the banks own a lot of that property or are using it as collateral. So then your money would go under. I mean, if you're keeping your money at a bank, and that bank goes under, then your money is gone. Or the government has to print money to make it up, which means the value of that money goes down. I don't see how I don't see how a bubble that's gotten this big can burst without either the banks going under or the dollar going under. But I'm not very knowledgeable in that field, and you should probably ask someone that knows what the hell they're doing. Ankles or shoulder blades? I have no idea. That's kind of weird, too. Thoughts on pineapple on pizza? I'm not a fan of pizza, honestly. Too high carb. We're happy you're here, too. Thank you, Belle V. I appreciate that. I'll give it. What is New York City government like after King Cuomo got pushed off his throne? I don't know. I don't work in New York City government, and the new governor hasn't really had much time to do much of anything. But I don't notice anything changing, but that's also because I don't really work in New York State government, so I don't really understand how things have changed. I guess when you start seeing orders get pushed around or not get pushed around, you'll see with time, but it's been too soon for me as an ordinary, average, everyday citizen to really understand how things have changed. New York City commercial real estate equals Bitcoin. You mean a giant bubble based on nothing? At least the real estate has some worth to it. What's the difference between you sitting here in front of a couch talking to us and OnlyFans? I don't... Pizza and pineapple. I would probably throw away the pizza and just eat the pineapple. I like pineapple, but not pizza. The difference between me sitting here in front of a couch talking to you versus OnlyFans is if I was on OnlyFans, I would unbutton my shirt and probably take my pants off and like have my ass to the camera and all sorts of other weird things that would just make the conversation not flow the way I imagine it should. I haven't taken my shirt off. Never taken my shirt or my pants off on video before. If a private investment buys a bunch of New York City buildings outright and just starts renting the apartments and commercial space at market levels, what would the effect be? Define market level. Like, do you mean current bullshit market, or do you mean what people are actually willing and capable of paying? If it was what they're actually willing and capable of paying, you might see a renaissance in New York City of all sorts of beautiful new small businesses and ideas, and you'd see people pulled out of poverty and then not relying on government assistance, and you see a lot of change happen, but that's not going to happen. Because in order to buy the building, and rent it out at normal rates, they wouldn't make back their money for thousands of years. Have you looked at Indiana? Just north of Indianapolis would be a pretty cool place to look. Cities like Fishers and Carmel. I have not looked at Indiana. I've driven through Indiana. And because Waze is a piece of shit navigation app, I was driving through Indiana on the highway, and then it told me that I should continue my way to Wisconsin by driving through Gary, Indiana. That was fun. But I haven't actually spent much time in Indiana. Will Gavin Newsom actually get recalled? 50-50. I get it. In many ways, Larry Elder is a meme, and he said many silly things. I get it. But it's like, if it's that or Newsom. I don't know. What's worse, a meme right-wing governor or Gavin Newsom? Fuck, those choices suck. So, like, I would be curious what one term of Larry Elder does for California. I don't live there. Just to be able to watch. Just have my popcorn, sit in my chair, and watch. I would be curious to see what Larry Elder does for California. If you left New York City, come to Stittle. Stittle? We would love to have you. STL. Stittle? Stittle. Huh. When are you running for office? Never. If you do end up having any interest in it, email me, arcadecamp@gmail. Also for warehouse type space. May save on labor too, depending. Clint, type it. Thank you. Thank you. Check out Overland Park, Kansas City for a new location. I've heard a lot about Overland Park. I visited Olathe, Kansas a while back. That was an interesting place. Will you ever revisit your New Jersey budget crisis video? I'm sure they're even farther in the hole. I learned what I needed to learn, which is that New Jersey is not the escape for me. New Jersey is not the place to escape to. New Jersey is a place to escape from. But I don't think there's been any new information that would really warrant another video. Politicians should get a fixed income, so they run for office because they care, not because of all the money and power they get. They do get a fixed income. It's just the money that they make after they're done with their term that makes it a mess. I feel... They're still talking about the Delta variant, but the Mu variant is in most states and is vaccine resistant, isn't it? I didn't even know there was a Mu variant. I thought once you're done with the Delta Airlines variant that the next one was going to be the Amazon AWS Lambda variant. Wait, so we haven't even gotten to the we haven't even gotten to the AWS Lambda variant, and yet there is a Mu variant? Mewtwo? No way. Seriously? We're really getting to the gotta catch 'em all section of this fucking... Oh my god. The gotta catch 'em all stage. Stittle equals Seattle. Oh, hell no. Hell no. Crazy traffic? Check. Shitty $3,000 to $4,000 studio apartments? Check. Chop Chaz? Check. No. No, no, no. If leaving New York City, Seattle's, no. No more places where you need to be a multimillionaire to live a middle-class life. Fuck that. If I move, it's going to be to a place where you can actually lead a middle-class life without being a millionaire. Leave New York City and do everyone a favor by joining the rest of us building up new, more reasonable communities elsewhere. I'd like to. I'd like to do some more exploring once I do this Massachusetts trip. I wanted to do more exploring this summer. July was a bad month for it. In August, I had a class to teach. There's this prepaid wireless expo that wound up probably not being the best way to spend my time. And now I got to do this Massachusetts lobbying trip. Once I'm done with the Massachusetts trip, then I'll be going around to find a place. Out of the frying pan into New Jersey. Yeah, screw that. No, Jersey. No. No 2.2% property tax. No. What are some important lessons you've learned since the beginning of COVID? Oh, I've never been to St. Louis. One of the most important lessons I learned from the beginning of COVID is that I can have a lot of political disagreements with people on the right on social issues and other areas where I'm likely not very right-wing. But the one area that I'm noticing really, really matters to me is, are you going to tell me what aisle of a store I'm allowed to walk down? Are you going to have cops turn on their sirens because I jog down an empty block? Like, there are certain areas in politics where, like, I'll disagree with you on, like, 99% of the rest of the shit. If on this small area, just a small 1%, we can just agree that you need to leave me the fuck alone. Honestly, this pandemic has seriously realigned my political priorities to a point where even if I would likely not get along and maybe disagree with people that are to my right in many different ways in an area I move to, if we can just agree on this one small carve, this one small cutout, that you will just leave me the fuck alone, on this area, in this area, that's a serious political priority for me. Like the idea that your governor can be a dictator and just shut everything down. I never want to deal with that again in my lifetime. I never want to fear that that's going to happen to me again in my lifetime. I never want to wake up with that stress of, oh shit, is this what they meant on this list? Like, am I allowed to be open or am I not allowed? Oh shit, are they going to come and shut? Like, I never want to wake up to that stress again. Fuck that. Hair of the dog is going to be honored with moderator status. The pandemic also taught me that any frugality that I had throughout my life, rather than, having flashy items, buying super expensive clothes and jewelry and all that shit, was the right thing to do. Because at any given time, you could just get a rug pull and have everything taken away from you. And I've made a lot of really stupid, bad decisions in life. If I did not make the number of stupid decisions that I made, both in business and my personal life, for all I know, I could be a millionaire by now. I'm not. I probably could have been way better along, but I also could have been way worse along. If I had, I have a lot of people, I know a lot of people that live in nicer apartments than me, that have nicer cars than me, that have nicer cell phones than me, that live more expensive lifestyles than me, that make considerably less money than me. Most of the people that I know that I get along with and talk to spend way more extravagantly than I do, and they make less than I do. And what I learned is that after this pandemic and just seeing how people's financial lives can be completely ruined, if anything, it made me even more frugal than I was before. It kind of reinforced in my head that is the way to go. Because when that rug pull moment comes, the one thing that's going to make you feel at least slightly less anxious than you did before is knowing that you have something put aside so that you're not totally screwed. I am 20 minutes behind in chat. Been watching for a long time. Finally caught a live stream in real time from the UK. You provide so much content. Here's a New York City beer on me. Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate that. I will do that. I will enjoy it without drinking. I actually have a bottle of wine over there that I probably should open. That would be fun. Should I open a bottle of wine and get to drinking before bed or no? Lou throwing me under the bus right now. No, Sonny actually has some smarts to him. He bought real estate so that when inflation happened, he had an investment. I bought stupid investments, which is why I lost. He bought smart investments, which is why he's ahead. Although then again, it's hard for me to know if he's ahead because he lives in a fucking garage. Maybe he's more ahead than I am. Maybe the reason he's more ahead than maybe he's living in a garage so that he can own a piece of real estate. Maybe I'm less frugal than he is. Hell, he's willing to live in a fucking garage. I still can't tell if him living in a garage is a meme. I genuinely can't tell if him living in a garage is a meme. I'm debating opening up a bottle of wine. There was a bottle of wine that showed up in the store. Yes or no to nuclear power? Yes, but only if it's done very properly. I think that a lot of the fear of nuclear power comes from the fact that many of the systems that failed were very old, and they weren't up to what modern technology is capable of. If you really want to have a society with genuinely decreased carbon emissions in a practical way, nuclear is going to have to be involved until those technologies radically improve. I am all for green energy. I am all for decarbonization, but that also means accepting the fact that nuclear will have to be involved. And I think that you can involve it. Again, just use 2020's technology. Don't use 1980s technology. Don't use 1940s technology. It's not as dangerous if you actually use modern technology and build things, understanding how things went wrong before and what can be done so that they don't happen again. And there's lots of people who have talked about all the ways that the Fukushimas and the other ones have failed, and they discuss how they failed, why they failed, what technology was being used, and what could have been done for it not to happen again. And if someone says, well, nuclear is very dangerous, I mean, is what we're doing now less dangerous? I mean, it's just we're doing it slowly rather than doing it quickly. It's but it doesn't mean that it's good. You really don't empathize much with the people you discuss, huh? No, I empathize deeply with a lot of the people that I discuss. That's quite the assumption that you've made there. Most of the work that I do on this channel, that I did for many years, is because I want to see other people get into the field that I'm in and be able to fix their own stuff, be able to share in my happiness when they see the fan spin, be able to share the anxiety being lifted from your shoulders when a $2,000 bill turns into a $200 bill for them that they would have had to pay. It's happy. It's a good feeling. You can run a business on mailed-in devices direct thanks to your personal brand. Strike iron while hot and move your business. Can help you build your brand. Yeah, but it means leaving certain people behind. I remember asking my dad, because I remember as I got older, it wasn't until I was older that, this is going to sound really stupid, but I wasn't aware of the idea of a single parent household until I grew up. Like I was a late teenager. And I remember asking my dad, why didn't you ever leave? My mother clearly hated you. She would yell at you until 2 or 4 in the morning every day. And she was like, why wouldn't you leave? And he looked at me right when we finally did leave, when I was 17 years old, and we got an apartment together. And he said, he talked about the way the divorce and the custody system works, and how I would be, he would only be able to see me on weekends if that happened, instead of being able to see me every day and being able to provide for me. And he looked at me and he said, if you care about people, you don't leave them behind. And I hear that shit in my head, and it guilts the fuck out of me every single time I look at a different place. And like every time I think of going to a different place and not keeping a small location in New York, I just kind of think about the people that have really helped me with building my business, that wouldn't be able to move with me. And like my dad's voice just goes into my head, and I just feel really guilty. It's like if my dad was able to spend time, if he was able to spend like an additional 14 or 15 years with someone who is nuts, then maybe I'm being a bit of a complainer and a bitch by leaving them behind, and just because New York City is more money than I'd like it to be, or has a shitty mayor. It really sticks with me, what he said. You don't leave people behind if you care about them. I will check out that book. Thank you for the suggestion. Would opening another branch somewhere really be leaving people behind? It would be, because I would be opening it somewhere else and leaving this one. This location is $12,500 a month. I am not keeping this location at $12,500 a month and spending money to open a new one. That makes no fucking sense. If I'm keeping this I'm either getting a lower price on this location, or I'm giving them their keys back and telling them best of luck seeing me in court over the next 5 to 10 years, if you actually want me to pay the remainder of it, which with the backlog. But I'm not keeping this location at $12,500 and then opening another location somewhere else. The whole point of opening another location somewhere else would be to clot the bleeding, to put to put a tourniquet on it. To keep this location and then open up another one, like that doesn't really solve the problem. That actually creates a new problem, because now you have a new location that you've opened that is probably going to take a year or two to become maybe a few years to become profitable once you've bought all the equipment for it and started hiring people. And I don't want to create a larger hole. What I would want to do, the only way that would make sense, is to take the stuff out of my current location and move it somewhere else, or make this location become more affordable. But yeah, really the only thing that just keeps me from like getting a backpack and just GTFOing immediately is I like yeah, I like some of these people. I don't want to leave them behind. Putting up with me is not easy, you know. I'm a horrible boss. Like, to put up with me for years only to get let go because I want to go to another place. Like, putting up with me for years, like that deserves a trophy in and of itself. I'm a prick. I'm not easy to work for. I'm a horrible piece of shit of a business owner. But follow Eli to Asheville. Baltimore is a growing tech industry. Yeah, about that. Baltimore seems to have a lot of the same issues that I'd be running from. Overpriced real estate, corrupt city government. Nah. Rhizometric says very sarcastically, and you wonder why there's only 3% female viewers. I don't believe I've ever given my stance on the particular topic that you're very mad at until a stream I did 2 years ago. So you'd have to have a different reason for why that would be the case from 2012 until 3 days ago. I hear your salt, and I understand your salt, and I understand that we disagree on something. I guess be salty. Do you think Apple is overvalued? I think almost every major tech company is overvalued right now. Not financial investment advice. I'm not a professional investment advisor. My personal opinion is, you ask a basic question. Is it in the NASDAQ? Is it in QQQ? Is it in ARKK? If the answer to any of those questions is yes, it's probably overvalued. Why do people care about green energy but then drive a full-size truck for a daily driver? That's not how this works. All the people that are like greenies are people who, a lot of the greenies drive a Prius or they take public transportation or a bike. I don't see like when you drive around areas where everybody has a Ford F-150 or a Chevy Silverado, they don't strike me as people that are environmentalists. But I think green energy and climate change has become a culture war thing. We're cool like that in America. We turn everything into a left versus right thing here. Catholic funded £1 or euro. Yeah, that's a euro. I think it's a euro. That's a euro. Thank you, Catholic. You can call yourself all the names in the book, but you ain't any of that in my opinion. You don't know me well enough. I recommend you read the book Happiness by Purpose by Edward de Bono. It just means leaving some people behind. Ah, yes, sir. I don't understand how you can watch this video for 20 to 40 minutes if you dislike me and are salty. This is a particularly interesting one, rhizometric. Like, you're clearly very, very highly salty, but you spent 30 or 40 minutes at this point, based on the timestamps here, listening. It reminds me of this thing with Howard Stern, where people would say that the people that liked him would listen for a half hour, but the people who hated Howard Stern would listen for 45 minutes to an hour. It's very interesting. Very interesting. I particularly mentioned one of the things that's kept me from leaving for many, many years is the fact that I had employees. Yet you purposely twisted my words there by saying that I would have to leave them behind as a way of saying that I don't have empathy. And the very thing that I said was that the one thing that's kept me from leaving for probably the last 4 or 5 years has been not wanting to leave people behind. So not only do you listen to someone that you don't like for almost an hour, but you continue listening so that you could find quotes of what they said, misquote them, to paint them as worse than they are. Isn't there an audiobook that you could listen to? A television show you could watch? A movie? Work? Maybe wash your car? Clean your house? Ride your bike? Lift some weights? Drink with a friend? There's so many better ways to spend your time than typing back and forth with someone that you fundamentally hate. Everything is misvalued due to the motivation to escape the dollar. I'm not going to disagree with you there, and my fear that inflation would occur is one of the things that likely has led to my bad decisions, some bad decisions in the past. Not all bad decisions, but some bad decisions in the past. If I didn't have to worry about inflation at all, I probably would have not chased. As a long-time viewer is often frustrated with you, I agree you can be a jerk. And you're also brilliant, and I hope you figure stuff out more. Okay, maybe that's why you listen. Maybe I'm being unfair. I don't know. It drives me nuts when someone disagrees with me so they go out of their way to make me seem like I'm evil. Like, just admit you disagree with me. It's fine. You don't have to, like, paint me as someone who has zero empathy. That's just not nice. Are you profitable in your current location? Depends on the month. And, depends on the month. There's an argument in this comment section that has nothing to do with me. I'll scroll past that. Would opening another branch somewhere really be leaving people behind? I answered that one already. Okay, I read that one. Got it. Puts on Apple at the open tomorrow. Don't buy options, you fuck. Options are gambling. Why are you watching? Don't buy options. Don't. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my God, it's hard enough to be right in the stock market when you have a 2 to 5 year time frame. You're going to try to be right with a 1 to 2 week time frame. And I know you can buy long options, but none of you ever do. When you talk about options, you're talking weeklies. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're about to do. You cut that shit out. You stop. You stop. Stop that. No, don't do that with options. How can liberty be preserved if a much worse pandemic than COVID were to appear? Oh, I think you're fucked. I think you're fucked because we talked about COVID having nobody's going to believe it. When we have something that's way worse than COVID come by, so many people are not going to believe it at all. And we're going to be so fucked. It's so sad. Every country is going to do better than us. Like, every country on earth is going to do better than us when the next serious pandemic happens, because everybody here is going to go like, oh, bullshit. Like, I remember I was fairly afraid of taking a plane ride because I forgot to eat before I got on the plane to go to Vegas. And I realized that it's mandatory that you wear a mask on the plane. So I thought, fuck, I can't eat. And then they said they were going to announce food, and I thought, that's weird. And then they announced food, and then they told everybody. They were yelling at people to keep their mask on. You must keep your mask on during the flight. It must be above your nose and all that stuff. And then when it was time to eat, everybody just took their mask off. Like, LOL JK, that doesn't matter. And we were all sitting on this really small, compact space, like 80 or 100 people. And we were all had our masks off, breathing, eating. And, your average person is going to look at that and go, wait a second. So I can't spread COVID when I'm eating? The virus takes a break when I'm eating? Or they're going to look at the indoor-outdoor dining shit we have going on in New York City, and they're going to go, wait a second. So I get COVID inside the restaurant, but I don't get COVID if you build a restaurant on the street with windows, a roof, and a door. And that causes people to go, oh, you're fucking with me. Oh, that's what it is. And it's not that they're fucking with you. They're not fucking with you. It's just our politicians are dipshits. But when the next pandemic comes by, when the next pandemic comes in, that like actually kills everybody, like kills 50% of the people that it infects, regardless of age or the shape that you're in. Oh, we are so fucked. We are so fucked because so many people are going to say, I don't want, yeah, they're going to do what they do here. Like, again, one of the most liberal, progressive areas of the U.S., New York City. You walk into any deli in New York City, what do you see? You see the person behind the counter wearing a mask like a chin bra. The mask is on his chin. Every fucking deli I've went into to get a sandwich for the past year and a half, the mask is on his chin. When a serious pandemic comes, a actual, like, honest to God, kills everybody pandemic, we are fucked. We are fucked. And in like South Korea or in Japan or other countries, they're going to have much lower death rates because wearing a mask above the nose is part of their culture. Wearing things right is a part of their culture. You know, just let's just socially distance for a while naturally without it being a law as part of the culture. But like in America, we're fucked. We fucked. If you were to quit to work in your industry, what industry would you get in? I don't know. I wanted to be a therapist when I was a teenager, but I don't think I'd be good at a therapist. You have to have your own life in order before you become a therapist. I wish people understood it's about reducing the spread. If 10 people on the plane catch COVID from someone who's spreading and no mask on, then maybe only 5 people catch it if you use a mask for most of the flight except when eating. Yeah, except you don't do eating and segmented. The eating is not segmented. The eating is all done at the exact same time. They don't release food for like row B separately from row D. So it's but mainly if what they had, if the people next to me had something that could actually kill me, like I don't mean 0.00000 whatever percent of killing me. I mean actually had like a 5 or 10% chance of killing me. I'm not getting on that fucking plane. And the thing is that we've had incredible fear-mongering for a year and a half, while simultaneously a lot of people saw, wait a second. Okay, so here's the level of fear-mongering, but here's the level of death. So there's not really a place to go when the next pandemic shows up that actually does kill 20% of the 20% of the people that get the virus. And I really do wonder how that's going to work. Dogecoin was in early at 1 million coin, but sold early. Don't want to talk about it. My account in 2018 was all shitcoins. And there was only one shitcoin that went up, which was Telcoin. And I sold my shitcoin Telcoin a few months before it went up by over 100 times. So I'm at that point. And some of the other shitcoins I have, you literally can't sell. I can't actually sell them because there's no exchange that exists anymore that even allows them to be sold or traded. So I'm just, I'm a dumbass when it comes to crypto. The air handler will ensure aerosols go through the building. If this was something that like really killed, I would be locked in my house for a year and a half. I think when a much larger pandemic comes, you're going to have the problem of a lot of people are going to remember this one and go, yeah, you know what, I'm not. And then it actually is going to kill a lot of people, but by then it's too late. Thoughts on the Framework laptop? There's one sitting on my desk at the store right now. I have to review it. With the current situation we're in with COVID, are you still offering? You're going to be offering in-person teaching in the near future. We're offering it now. There's 2 students for the rest of the week that Paul's going to be teaching. And like Paul got vaccinated, I got vaccinated, Dan is vaccinated. Like we're good, I'm fine with teaching. Everybody here who is doing teaching is vaccinated. I am vaccinated. I prefer you be, but if you're not, whatever. But like again, what do you think is going to be the end game for New York City real estate? I think they're going to drive it into the ground. They're just going to wait until there's less and less people there. And then it's just going to be that awkward elephant in the room that everything is empty and they still want all of this. It's Stockholm Syndrome, though. They don't know that. Oh, I don't know what that's in response to. Don't make fun of my Christmas tree. GME, AMC, BTC. Huh? How's the New York City business vaccine mandate going? That mandate is so far for bars and restaurants. It's not for stores like mine. Once it's for stores like mine, I imagine I am going to start getting fined because I'm not going to be following it. Poor excuse saying you're not leaving because of employees. They are talented and will survive. It's not an excuse, it's reality, you fuckface. Get out of here. Next. I'm happy. Let's see. Trolling fuck. Let's see. LOL 0-day options. Beans or waffles? Oh, beans by far. You'll fart more, but it's probably healthier. But you'll fart a lot more. But it'll be healthy farting. If you deem yourself not to be a conspiracy theorist, which I think you do, how do you evaluate what's going on politically? Like in your last video. I don't find that to be a conspiracy. I simply find it to be conflicting interests. So, like in my last video where I talked about the vaccine thing, so they want people to get vaccinated because they want to reopen. So they want to reopen. They want everything to reopen. But they've already bought into the idea of saving just one life, which means the only way to reopen is if everybody's fully vaccinated. So they do the mandate. But then they have to deal with the reality, which is that, well, if we're going to have people in a room, they have to be vaccinated. But wait a second. Nobody wants to be in jury duty. Shit, so what do we do? So it's just they have a goal, but the goal winds up, they do something to achieve that goal, which is they try to use a carrot. But then they realize that they're actually using a stick by saying that people are being, to go to jury duty, you have to be vaccinated. And that's not a conspiracy. That's just, we have a goal, we want to achieve it using force, and then, oh shit, crap. You know, it's kind of, they made a wrong turn on the highway kind of thing. Like, I don't think that that's a conspiracy. I just think this is the path you wanted to take. It doesn't seem like you really looked all the way down it. Most areas where I think people think something is a conspiracy, it's not a conspiracy where people are rubbing their hands together and plan this whole thing from scratch. I think it's just human beings being idiots. I've had people accuse me of things that were fairly conspiratorial, and it made me less conspiratorial when, like, I would do something stupid and someone would assume that there was this malicious agenda behind it, when it's really like I forgot to read something or I misread some email or... How can property owners pay the real estate tax when no one is renting their commercial space? How can the spaces stay empty year after year? I'm taking a guess here, and this guess is based on a few articles that I've read from people who've researched the subject, but not based on my own experience. I'm taking a guess that it's because this is how people are parking their money, and that the property tax is nothing. So if somebody has $4 billion and they need a way to make sure that that $4 billion is not taken by their local government or something like that, they're more than happy to park $500 million of it into some shitty building in New York City. And if they have to pay a few $1,000,000 a year as a fee to ensure that that money exists and cannot be taken away from them, they're more than happy to. That's my guess. But there have been many articles over the past 10 years on how New York City is a way to wash money from overseas. I don't even think it's tax evasion. I think it's just, if my assets get stolen from me in the country that I'm in, this is a way for me to retain those assets. There's a lot of good work on that. There's one video that I did and I read a while ago where I read one of those. It was a very well-researched article. I forget the name of the video, though. Sorry, Sonia. Capitalists want you to get vaccinated so they can get back to business as usual. I mean, everybody wants to be back to business as usual, not even just for capitalism, just so that we can go back to having a society that we used to have. If you get the vaccine and somebody who isn't vaccinated gives you COVID, it means the shot didn't work, you need to go back to the vet. If you have a bulletproof vest on and somebody shoots you and you go, ow, that means the bulletproof vest didn't work. Dude, just follow the mandate. No. Will I get a vaccine? Yes. Am I making Kevin tell everybody before they walk in, hey, can I see your papers? Oh, you don't have it? Get out of here. No. No. Just follow the mandate. No. I'll get a vaccine. I'll have everybody in the store wear a mask before vaccines were available. But I am not filtering out customers based on whether or not they got a vaccine. Fuck that. I brought you to Olathe, Kansas. I was visiting E-Tech Parts because I was going to hand them off a couple of customers, and I also wanted to meet them because they had a very eclectic social media page at the time. And admittedly, an eclectic social media manager. We dated for a short period of time. It didn't work out. I think to varying extents, all politicians are corrupted by their office. The Lord Mayor of my hometown was sent to jail for dodgy dealings, but arguably did more for the town than any mayor has had. I'd probably be a really piece of shit person if you gave me power. I think a lot of people say we need someone like this or that in politics, but the reality is that when you give someone power over other people, and that's what being a politician is, it's power over millions of people depending on where you are. Man, don't give people power. Don't give people power. It really turned, I would become 10 times the piece. I know I'm a piece of shit right now, and I try to keep in touch with that piece of shit side of me to keep it in check, so that if I ever do get real power one day, I don't become a Cuomo. But man, give me political power, man, I'd be one fucking comic supervillain. I think most people would be. Most people can't handle power, and they shouldn't be in positions to handle serious power. But I'm definitely one of them. I could only imagine what kind of piece of shit I'd be if I had actual political power, which is why I don't seek it. You're an avid bike rider. In cities like New York City, you need better infrastructure. Would you ever turn your attention towards cycling advocacy? The only way to really get good cycling infrastructure in New York City is to redo the city from scratch, which would mean ripping up the sidewalks and the buildings and everything, because you need more space in the streets. Or get rid of the cars. You'd have to, getting rid of the cars would be a big part of it. But getting rid of all cars, I don't think is something that's going to happen. Who's to say the virus isn't going to mutate and become more deadly? We'll see. We had Alpha, we had Delta. Soon we're going to have the AWS Lambda version, the Mu version. I hear there's a lot more versions coming. We'll see. But one thing is for sure, is that if the virus does actually become seriously more deadly, we're screwed, because so many people are in the no, nice try, fooled me one stage. See you later, Mr. Lumberton. Thank you for reading my comment. Thank you, Jason, for leaving it. What cracks me up is the bikers on the sidewalk because it's a one-way street. Yeah, but they're still doing something illegal there. Better shitty and honest than shitty than dishonest. Yeah, but who's to say if I had power that I'd be honest? Again, they never assume that good people should have power because they would do good things with it. Good people, when they have power, will not be good people for long. I'm definitely not disillusioned enough to believe that I'd be a good person if I had power. You're not a social business. No mandate for you. And venture capitalists are ruining business and real estate. I mean, people walk in. I could have 5 or 6 different groups of people in the front of the store from time to time when it's busy. It's not a bar, but but people do show up and they do stand next to other people. What's it like to have 751 simps watching you now? Somewhat sad, because when I had 40,000 subscribers, I would do these streams and there'd be 600 people watching. Now there's 1.6 million, supposedly, and there's 751. It's weird, though. Still too high a number. Back then it was too high a number, and now it's too high a number. There's really nothing to do anymore, isn't there? We've run out of stuff to have on television. When I was a kid, if there was a choice between watching some random person talk or watching reruns of 24. Oh, if it was a new episode of 24, I'm for that. Screw this. Have you smoked marijuana? Are you in favor of it? Do you think there's a conduit? Pros, thoughts? I have no problem with marijuana being made legal. I have no problem with the legalization of marijuana. I think it would be a good step forward in society. I don't smoke it because throughout my teenage years, and particularly when I worked in recording studios, all of the people that seemed like idiots were people who were smoking weed. So I just made this mental association that the people that are smoking weed all the time, they A, weren't getting anything done, or B, they sounded like idiots. So I just said, I'm just not doing that. And I also just had no desire to put smoke in my body. I wasn't as uncomfortable with liquor, but even then I decided, like, I very rarely drink. Even on this stream, I said I was going to start drinking some wine, and I didn't. But I'm not a fan of, it's more normalized for me to have liquid in my body than it is for smoke. But particularly, I just never found marijuana to be something that was exciting. But I don't care if you do it. I don't care. I don't judge you on it. Like, I have employees that I know that smoke marijuana after work. Some of them smoke it before they come in. I don't really care. It doesn't. I don't care. You do your job. I don't give a shit. It's not my business. I just watched your video on New York City imposter syndrome. As an audio engineer, I found it hilarious when you were talking about your time repairing equipment at the recording studio of your video. I miss Avatar Studios from time to time. I really do. Yeah, it's just not. It's not my business. If you choose to smoke weed, it's not my business. Now, if you choose to smoke weed and get on the highway at 80 miles an hour, then it's my business. I'm not for you smoking weed while driving, while operating a motorcycle, while using heavy machinery. But if you're smoking weed in your house, why should I give a shit? Like, it's not my business. It's not my business. Nobody should care what my opinion on that is, because my opinion on it shouldn't matter and it shouldn't affect you. The reality is that you have to care about what my opinion and other people's opinions are, because in many areas of the country, it's illegal to smoke marijuana. It's illegal to possess marijuana. And it's sad that you have to care what someone like me thinks of it. But you have to, because of you need to get enough people involved in a political movement that would allow you to them to vote for legislation that would allow you to do what you want to do in your own home. That's what I find sad. You shouldn't need that. Would you recommend New York City for an immigrant? Yeah, there's all different groups of people here. From what I see in my comments section, and I could be wrong, I imagine that if you're an immigrant, you're likely to have you're more likely to be accepted with open arms here than in some other areas of the country. But then again, I have a friend who was never going to forget this. I met a politician, I forget the name of him, it's on the tip of my tongue, in Nebraska, who was saying that, and he was a minority, and he said, I was very surprised, he said, the way that when other people are racist towards me here, they treat me better than the way you guys in New York treat each other. And that really stuck with me. What microscope would you recommend with a good trinocular port? Amscope SM4TP. You're going to have to get a better one. Ask Paul Daniels in the chat which one of those microscope adapters he gets for the camera. Ask Paul Daniels which one he gets, because I think he knows the proper one to get for the camera. I forget the mount to get. You copied and pasted the same question within 5 seconds, so I'm just feel opposed to answering it now. There's no need for that. This chat is already hard enough to follow without spam. But you don't have to care about your opinion. That's why I stated can't leave people alone and be free. Yeah, like, I don't smoke weed. I don't want to smoke weed. I've never really seen a benefit to it. If you want to do it, I don't give a shit. Just don't do it while driving, really. I'd rather perform a self-lobotomy with a tent peg than endure an episode of 24. You don't know what you're missing. That's a good show. I love 24. That show was awesome. That's the only time Kiefer Sutherland was a good actor. But man, he was made for that role. I was really made sad when I read about what a fuck-up he was in real life, and getting drunk and wasted in hotels and getting tossed out and all that other stupid shit. It was hard to believe what the real Jack Bauer is like. But there is no real Jack Bauer. Oppendorf says you're an intelligent young man, unlike most, never learn from their own life experiences. No, most of the mistakes that I've made over the years, I've made more than 3 times, so I actually never learn from my experiences. And that is something that frustrates me a lot. But again, as Dream Theater says, the truth is the truth. All you can do is live with it. My wife wants to take a vacation in New York City for some reason. An Uber cost estimate was $100 from Newark to Central Park. What do you think about Uber Lyft cost these days? Taking a cab from Newark to there it's always going to be super expensive. It's not just Uber and Lyft. It's also the normal taxis. Millennial Farmer said he tried contacting you to talk about Right to Repair. One of the largest farming channels said you didn't reply. Every single time someone has said that, what I've done is I have typed my email in the chat. My email is literally public. I have no emails from Millennial Farmer. Lewis@fighttorepair.org. This is a public email that I've said many times. I don't have any emails from him. I don't know what to do. I don't know how he contacted me. I don't know if he spelled my name. Maybe he spelled my name with 1 N instead of 2 N's because my name has 2. I don't know. Maybe he emailed lewis@rossmanngroup.com with 1 N instead of 2 N's. I have no idea. But my email there is public, and anybody who wants to contact me to talk about anything at any time related to Right to Repair, that is, not anything. Lewis@rossmanngroup.com is just the email that you can contact me at. Lewis@Fight to Repair is only for Right to Repair related shit. If it's unrelated to Right to Repair, I just hit delete. But yeah, it's right there. I'd be happy to have a conversation with him about whatever. But that's my email. Is that a Christmas tree? That is a Christmas tree. Doomsday Tim Pool or DMT Rogan? Pick your poison. Probably Joe Rogan. Like, when I scroll through Tim Pool's list of videos, it looks like a list of things that's designed to make me believe that the world is closer to the precipice of disaster than it is, because that's what people want to see. And he probably makes a lot more money than I do on YouTube because he knows that's what the algorithm wants, and he knows that's what people want, and he gives the people and the algorithm what they want. Joe Rogan is just a dude just talking about shit. It's like, I don't think it's his desire for people to believe that the world is genuinely crappier than it is. I was going to go on Tim Pool's show, but I am a moron, and I didn't realize that IRL meant in real life, and he wanted me to actually drive down there. And that was right around the time where I was scheduled to go to Vegas, and I had to do a class here, and then I had to go to Massachusetts. So I just, like, driving 2 or 3 states down just is not something in my list at the moment. Thoughts on gun ownership and guns in general? I really don't have a problem with people owning guns. I think in New York it's kind of weird because everybody here is crazy and on edge and high-stressed all the time. So, like, again, in Texas and Tennessee, you can have a culture where everybody owns a gun, and it's different than here because they, grew up with them, and they were raised. Their parents show them, here's how, your dad shows you, here's how to shoot a gun, here's the mentality that you need to have, the discipline, all that other stuff. Here, I think if you gave everybody a gun in New York City, population would be cut in half very soon because everybody here is on edge all the time and stressed and freaked out and aggravated, and you give everybody a gun, there'd be a lot of dead people, I think. But I have no problem with the Second Amendment. Do you make more YouTube revenue than your repair business ever since the rapid growth of your channel? Not really, because a lot of the stuff that I do winds up not being monetized because I wind up cursing, and it's very difficult for me to not curse. And I haven't gotten to the point of seeing this as a job to where I don't curse in most of my videos. Also, most people, this is a technical-oriented channel. I don't even mean tech like I talk about building GPUs and let me water cool a GPU. PP Bus G3 hot, PP342 before PP Bus, what is PM Sleep S4L? And the kind of people that are going to watch those videos are typically the kind of people that know how to install an ad blocker in their web browser so that they cannot see the advertisements in the video. With time, this channel could pass my business in revenue, but I don't think that would be because my YouTube channel succeeded. I think that would be because my business failed. So if my landlord doesn't say anything about the the 12,500 of rent and back rent that I have, and if the city keeps going downhill as my rent goes up, at that point it is possible that YouTube could surpass my business, but that would not be YouTube surpassing my business because my YouTube channel is amazing. It would be YouTube surpassing my business because my business has failed. But hopefully that doesn't happen. I like having my business. I don't have to give a fuck if my channel gets deleted because I actually have a business. I know you do Apple repair, but would you... Fuck, I gotta read that. You find that comment. I'm gonna fish that comment out. I think it also gives me for instance, how about this? Like when I do a video saying I'm not going to follow de Blasio's vaccine mandate, or I do a video calling out the city on their bullshit or stuff when it comes to licensing and all that shit, I don't have to give a fuck if my channel gets deleted because I have a job. If it ever got to the point where YouTube was my job, the content would change tremendously because I'd actually have to give a shit about that day that shows up where they just send my channel down the memory hole. But I'm lucky in that I don't have to care about that. I know you do Apple repair. Would you expand other brands with the way companies are making it so hard to repair devices? Example, Surface. The problem with the Surface is that there's not enough demand for it for me to be able to find all the parts and schematics and diagrams I need. And there's not enough people that walk in the store willing to get that fixed to make it worth my while to stock a bunch of donor boards and parts, to spend, countless hours reverse engineering everything to try to figure out how it works. I would like it if they made all that stuff available. Hopefully not, but your channel and personality is the best. Good luck with everything. Thank you, Mel, sir. I appreciate that. Ever thought about going on the Bill Maher show? I don't really see how... I don't see where Bill Maher would have much to do with this. I mean, he says these witty one-liners, and then he has an audience that sycophantically laughs over it. It's the typical... political punditry of 90s, 2000s era television. And I don't know if that's necessarily the best way to get this message across in 2021. Maybe it would be, but I don't think that this would be I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't know if I would react well to that type of environment where someone, they come up with their witty one-liners beforehand. They specifically target an audience that's going to laugh on command when they're trained to. I don't know. I think that would be very awkward. I think it would be strange. I think it would be uncomfortable. And I don't... I don't know. Going on a late night talk show kind of thing, it would just be really weird. That stuff feels very manufactured. God bless Bill Maher. I mean, the format works for him. But I don't know if it works for me. Is there a car manufacturer you prefer the looks of if you were to have a vehicle? I want a car that looks like the Nazca C2. Yeah, the Nazca C2. From Need for Speed 2. Oh, that MA tour sheet, Hawaii Sun Fun. I have a lot of updates to make to that because we did a lot today. Do you still deadlift? Yes, once a week though. Here in Texas, everyone has a gun. It's just assumed everyone is armed. Never known anything different. Guns are just a belt attachment, says Sonya. Yeah, I'd be a fish out of water in Texas. I don't know how to shoot a gun. I know how to shoot a Nerf gun. What rent reduction would you be happy with? 7-8K area. 7-8K area. And a considerable reduction in the back rent that's owed. I'd say the 7-8K a month area. But you may be able to work with that. Thoughts on the imagination age? I have no idea what that is. I feel horrible. You gave me $2 for something that I'm completely uninformed on. Let me Google the imagination age and see what that is. The imagination age is a theoretical period beyond the information age where creativity and imagination will become the primary creators of economic value. In contrast, the main activities of the information age are analysis and thinking over rational thinking as a foundation. You mean like people making fictional books or making creative works? Like people making Game of Thrones-like stuff where instead of being a service economy, will be an art economy? I'm confused. Thank you, Agent Ruley. Thank you very much. New cases dropped dramatically after polio vaccines were largely administered. Yeah. Different time, though. How much do you deadlift? Just curious, any amount is admirable. The most I've ever done is 9 reps at 300 pounds. I tried to do 10 and I almost died. Do you have an opinion on the situation with the Taliban and the military equipment left behind? I'm not well enough informed on foreign policy to be able to say with definitive nature that is this person's fault or this person's fault or that person's fault or this is exactly what we should have done. The only thing that I can say as an uninformed spectator that doesn't really understand much about foreign policy, the military, or how to conduct a war, is that the way that we exited seemed like a clusterfuck. That's really all I can say there. I can't imagine how I would have done better. I don't really know what I could have done differently or better. But it's a weird one because on one hand, I don't want to be in that country forever. On the other hand, there are several countries where we have more troops than where we had in Afghanistan for over 50 years. But should we be doing that? Does it make sense to have troops in Italy, South Korea, all the other countries? I mean, if we're going to say that we don't want to have a forever war in Afghanistan, what do we define as a forever war? And why do we have them every place else? Does that mean we should leave people in Afghanistan? We leave troops there? Or does that mean we should pull troops out of Afghanistan and also pull them out of all these other damn countries that they're in? I don't know, because that's not my thing. I fix MacBooks. I fix MacBook boards. Sometimes I comment on things when I have thoughts. This is an area where I'm just so far from being informed that I don't even have a thought. Is Lewis anti-vax? Canadian Vice, you would have to define what anti-vax means to you. What anti-vax means to me is someone who rejects vaccines more broadly based on disinformation. By that definition, I am not anti-vaccine. I've received all my vaccines that I was supposed to when I was a youth, and I got my COVID vaccine earlier this year, and I encouraged my friends, my family, and my employees to do so. By my definition, I'm not anti-vaccine. If your definition of anti-vaccine is somebody who doesn't think that they should be mandated and have that mandate be enforced at the point of the small businesses, by that definition, then I would be. But I don't think that's a genuine definition. What kind of action cam would you recommend as alternative to GoPro? The DJI Action Osmo 4K, you could find them used on eBay for about $200. They don't freeze as often. They're much more reliable. You'll get better image quality, in my opinion. The HDR feature is really nice. And you won't have to be burdened with a shitty first-party dongle that's expensive and doesn't work if you wish to use it with an external microphone. I didn't stop at 300 because back when the gyms were open, I think my max was 365. My weights at work don't go over 300, so instead of adding more weight, I just do more reps. Now that I'm up to 9 reps at 300, I know I can my max is more than 365. I just can't put more than 365 in the bar. We're past the point where we can automate labor and make resources directly accessible to people who need them, but instead we waste our ability to be functional by doing it to keep a few people wealthy. Tesla is one of the highest valued companies on the planet, and with all their knowledge and all of their work and investment into AI, they can't create a car that parks. Their autopilot, their full self-driving feature, which is $10,000, cannot take a car that is over here and move it into a parking space over here without it beeping or crashing into something. They are known as one of the premier companies when it comes to AI and self-driving. So I doubt that we're at the point where we can automate virtually everything so that there's no want for anything just to keep a few people wealthy. I think the technology is not there yet. Not even close. I could agree with you there when you say we're not thinking hard enough. Maybe other people. I don't have the capability to think that hard. I'm not that smart. Lewis, we need Donald Trump back. He'll make America and Americans first again. See, I don't think he did a lot of that while he was in office. I don't think a lot of the people that he said he wanted to help actually got helped much. He was a good showman, though. Like, when you watch him, you can get excited about what he's saying, excited about everything. Like, he was a good showman. I'll give him that. Increase your chance of fan spam by watching Lewis fix sad MacBooks and giving yours emotional support. Well, maybe we'll fix a MacBook tomorrow. Lewis, you look like you have a lot of scrap to you. I say we settle this once and for all. Lewis, you look like you got a lot of scrap? Am I allowed to take your $5 if I don't know what your comment means? Even Trump recommends getting the vaccine. I got it. When he said that people should get the vaccine, and he said it a little lower than he usually says things, and you started hearing people in the audience boo, I think that was the moment where Trump realized that he created something that's bigger than himself, and that's also outgrown himself, that he has no control over. It was very interesting watching that particular moment. That was the moment that he lost the control of his audience, but he created something that outgrew his initial that outgrew his initial what's the word I'm looking for? I don't have the word. Highest WPM you have done? I don't know. Probably like 113 words a minute maybe with a Microsoft 600 wired keyboard. Well, I should know. It was 123. It was 123, not 113. La 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 la. Cat, play nice. AFS, I can't answer that question because of the disingenuine framing of the question. Favorite conspiracy theory? Favorite conspiracy theory? My favorite conspiracy theories would probably be the ones about how the Federal Reserve was created in private because they didn't want anybody to know that they were meeting to create it. Something like that Jekyll's Island book. That would be probably... That's a conspiracy theory that's actually kind of fun to read about. I'm a happy dude, man. It's 1:28 in the morning. Do you feel the second Great Depression is coming? Yes, I feel it keeps getting pushed off. Just keeps getting pushed off. Like in 2008, market started to tank. Oh, no, it's going to go back up. 2020, market started. Oh, no, it's going to go back up. It's like at some point, it's like we never take our medicine. Just keep putting it off. Does a possible housing market bubble coincide with what's going on in New York properties? Yes, I think that to some extent it is interlinked. Favorite cell phone? HTC Incredible from 2010. That was the first phone I used that really gave me a wow. Like this, the progress going from a BlackBerry Storm to a 9530 to an HTC Incredible was just amazing. I'll never forget the feeling. That phone was sweet. Scroll. Canadian Vice has my view on the vaccine situation. It's simple. Principle requires payment. I fully support making it mandatory. People need more personal experience of it, like deprioritized hospitalization. I'm okay with that, but then how far do you go? Do you get deprioritized hospitalization if you're a smoker? Do you get deprioritized hospitalization if you take part in dangerous sports? So, for instance, my job, laptop repairman, not very dangerous. Your job, boxer, ouch. You mean you're literally choosing to get punched every day in the head. And also, how would you tell? Well, that'd be a rating system, because we would need to know where to classify you. Do we put you into the part of the hospital where you get fast help, or the part of the hospital where we tell you to go fuck yourself? How do we know? How would we know what your position is, what your job is? Are you fat because you eat 5 meals of Arby's every day? I haven't wanted to build a snowman since I was about 12 years old. Are you fat because you eat at Arby's 10 times a day? Or are you fat because you have some sort of genetic issue or an actual legitimate condition that means even if you try your best and exercise and everything, you are still going to be fat? How do we tell when you first come into the hospital whether you are in the group to be prioritized or deprioritized? Who makes these determinations? Who is going to be the person who enforces this? Is this going to be something that goes on your ID? If you show up at the hospital and you don't have your ID on you because you were hit by a car while you were on the way to pick up the morning paper or some shit, and you don't have ID and they don't know who you are, so they cannot determine whether you're in the group to be prioritized or not, do you get prioritized or do you get put in a low priority pool? How do you determine that? Like, it's a difficult one because I hear where you're coming from. I really do. But how do you implement that in a manner that's not a clusterfuck, that is not tyrannical. And how do you, and if that's what you're going to do, how do you implement it? But also, what's the limiting principle? Because you can't do that with COVID without doing it with everything else. Because America is a deeply, deeply unhealthy country. We choose to smoke. We choose to eat 5 meals a day at Arby's and just like pound greasy, deep fried shit into us. It's the American way. We choose not to exercise. There are so many fucked up things we do in America to destroy our health. Should people who are destroying their health by choice be deprioritized in a hospital? If so, how do you know that they're deprioritizing their health? And you're going to have, again, if someone shows up from an ER, if someone shows up to an ER and they need help stat, well, you have to figure out how to know if they're going to be prioritized. You need a way to tell. Is it a tattoo? Is it an ID? If it's on your ID, is that now a responsibility for the DMV? Do you get regular checkups to figure out if you're deserving of the priority pool or not low priority pool? It's a tough one. I will ask those who come at the entrance of a hospital if you've been vaccinated or not. Okay, but if I knew that I was going to get shitty care if I said no, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lie and say, yes, I was vaccinated. What's your opinion on the CPR and You Break, I Fix franchise? My opinion on them is that they make me not want to open a franchise business, because I do not want to open a business where people don't, where, again, I've received trackpad cables from these franchise, like machines that had nothing wrong with it but a trackpad cable, and they mailed it across the country to me because they couldn't diagnose it themselves, or that destroyed backlight fuses and really basic stuff. They're really quiet on right to repair, which tells me a lot of what I need to know. I imagine companies like CPR would rather have private deals made with these companies behind closed doors that only benefit CPR franchises and don't benefit everybody else. When I fight for right to repair, I'm fighting for something that benefits everybody. It's not just people that have a business, not just people that have businesses with my name on it, but everybody. I don't know if they're on board with right to repair. It doesn't seem like they are. I wouldn't imagine that from You Break, I Fix, especially since they're owned by Assurian now. But yeah, I mean, the model does not seem. I'm not very interested in the franchise model. I'm not very interested in the innovation just doesn't seem to stem from them. Who figured out C7771 as an issue? Duke. Who figures out the jumpers to make audio IC work? Who figures out it's always the smaller businesses that are passionate about it. It's not the cookie cutter franchises. I work for Micron, but I can't find anything about right to repair policies. Could you share any light about my company? I can't find anything either. I don't think I would know the policies of the company you work at better than me. I don't. Micron tends to. I imagine Micron is a company that sells the chips that other companies use to make things like solid state drives and RAM. I don't know. They don't make full laptops, full cell phones. It looks like they make chipsets for them. Vaccine doesn't stop you transmitting. Why mandate? Because it doesn't stop you 100% from transmitting, but you're less likely to get it, and you're also less likely to transmit it. It's about likelihoods. And when you do enough things to lower the likelihood, you're one step closer to getting rid of it than you would have been without it. Now, in Israel, they're kind of getting fucked, but they're getting fucked because they did their vaccination early. And I think with the thought there, and to be clear, I'm kind of talking out of my ass here, I'm not a fucking virologist, is that the immunity may wane after a certain period of time. But yeah, I wasn't for a mandate anyway from the very beginning. I'm not for a mandate. I was pro getting the vaccine, but I was not for a mandate of it from the begin with. So you're asking me what the argument for a mandate is when it was never my argument for it to be a mandate. Rossmann Group, do you see this? I see that ED4 asked me, do I see this? But that's not a question or something useful, so I don't know what to say. Trying to turn off SIP ALG, am I right? My ISP won't allow me to turn it off. Would it be best to just use my own router to turn off that feature. Yes, or get a different ISP, but I know that's easier said than done because you probably only have one ISP in that area. Thanks for all you do for this industry. Who would you recommend for website creation or hosting, advertising to get customers? I don't know. Almost every web designer I've hired has been a scammer in some way or the other, so I don't know who would like the guy that did this website was supposed to do my Magento store as well, but he took the money and he never did it. He never did it. And he never refunded me. He said he was going to, and then he didn't. Let's see if I could find him. Can I find this guy? He actually admitted, he knew that he screwed me. And he's just like, yeah, I'm just not giving you your money back. Sorry, you're not getting your money back. This fuck. Here's what it is. I don't think I've ever dealt with a web designer before that actually... I don't know who you should get for web design, man. The next time I need a website design, they'll go on a Freelancer or Fiverr and just arranging by lowest price and highest rating. Because every time I've paid for the person that other people say has great reviews, is reputable, and blah, 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 and paid a premium, I got screwed worse than I would expect to get screwed on Fiverr or Craigslist. Offer component-level repairs on military hardware. I've never been asked to repair military hardware, and I have no experience working on military hardware, so I don't think that I would do it. I think if we deprioritize hospitalization due to health, that we should deprioritize people for welfare that don't get an education or work. Or have deprioritized their career in education. Yeah, that's a rabbit hole. I do the board work for a CPR franchise with 10 plus stores. Personally, I enjoy my company, not corporation. I fear my job security with Apple IRP and CPR Corp. Wait, not corp, I fear my job security. Can you retype that sentence into the general YouTube chat, but without... I know there's a limitation on how much you're allowed to type into the donation. Can you type the rest of that sentence into normal YouTube chat, but without it being word salad? Because I don't know if it's because it's late or if it was just that sentence, but there's a bit of words. I feel like that was word salad. Paul Daniels is a stapler. What does that mean? Excuse me. What does that mean? Why would you call Paul Daniels a stapler? Why would you call Paul Daniels a stapler? That doesn't make any sense. That hardly seems appropriate to call him a stapler. Give me a stapler. Staple his nuts to a sack of paper. Was that in the song My Name Is on Eminem Slim Shady LP? Staple. Gave me a stapler. Stapled his nuts to a sack of paper. A stack of paper. Something like that. They changed the lyrics of that song. Did they? What will you do if your current business goes under? Do you have a plan B? I do not have a plan B. Don't really have a choice. I gotta make this business work. I always find a way to make things work. I'll find a way to make this work. I've made my mistakes, and I'll have to deal with it. I do the board work for a CPR franchise with 10 plus stores. Personally, I enjoy my franchise, but not corporate. I fear my job security with Apple IRP, and CPR corporate. New rules every day. Okay, now I get it, but not corporate. Why does CPR corporate suck? Feel free to email me, Lewis@fighttorepair.org. I would love to hear why corporate CPR sucks. Yeah, but who do you report him to, Rich Foley? I would have to be willing to travel to the state of Washington to sue him, which means staying in a hotel, which is going to cost like $200 a night, taking him to court, and then even if I win, after I win, I would have to get a judgment, and then once I get a judgment, I would then have to do the collections work myself. So for $9,000, I would probably wind up spending $3,000 to $5,000. I'd probably miss out on $4,000 of work, all to potentially not get the money. It's just, you move on and you learn your fucking lesson and you tell everybody you know to never use that person again. That's the lesson. That's what I do. Stapler is used every day, much like you use a software and find bugs in it almost every day. Okay, and that, Matt, yeah, Paul Daniels is a stapler. The stapler has less bugs, but now, in that situation, like, yeah, you report him, but what does that mean? What do you have your own opinion when it would really cause GPU shortage behind miners and scalpers? No, I mean, I don't. It's chip. Listen, Ethereum going from like $500 to $4,000 is going to cause a GPU shortage, and that plus the general chip shortage that's been affecting every other industry. When you combine those two things, that makes sense as a GPU shortage. But yeah, like when someone screws you over for that amount of money, okay, I have to travel. Okay, great. I travel. Now I lost money traveling. I'm now away from work. I'm not doing my YouTube videos. I'm not working. I'm not advertising my business. I'm not working towards right to repair. So now I'm not making money and I'm not moving forward. Now, who do you report him to? You report him by taking him to court. Now I take him to court. Now I have to win. Once I win, what do I get? I get a judgment. I have to take the judgment to a bank. So I have to figure out where he banks. And if I figure out where he banks and he has $80 in the bank, and he owes me $9K, what do you do there? Well, I'd like my $9K, but there's $80 there. That's you can't get blood from a stone. So you wind up. It's not like you just call 311 and immediately get your money back when things like that happen. Even if you have a contract, and I have a very clear-cut contract, and phone calls of him admitting that he screwed me. But life is not that set and dry. You know, the right thing to do is move on and succeed enough in life that you just don't give a shit about the $9K that you lost. Admittedly, at this point in time, it's hard for me to not care about it because that $9K would be very fucking useful right now. But it is what it is. It is what it is. It would cost me more than $9,000 to get the $9,000 that he stole from me back. So it is what it is. Profit might be evil, but it's intrinsically attached to the enrichment of others aside from the profiteer. Lewis wants money. He profits. In return, though, he has to provide something useful. I believe that is true. You're the best real estate channel on YouTube. Big fan. Have you considered living in a travel trailer? A pickup and a trailer for two would be under $100K. I don't know if that's the life for me. I don't think that would be a life for me. Being a stapler is harder than it looks. Probably. I did sue a contractor from an architect from 2 years ago. I shit you not. I just got something in the mail like 3 weeks ago from the New York City court saying they finally got to my case. I filled out that paperwork in February of 2020. It is now September of 2021. I finally heard back from the contractor. They said they were going to pay it so it doesn't go to court. 2 weeks happened. They never did. This isn't even Eugene. Eugene's a lost cause. Eugene owes money to the IRS. He has an IRS lien on him. So even if I actually got a judgment against him, which I'm not going to get, but even if I won in court, the IRS is getting their money before I am, and the IRS has not gotten their money. But this is for one that I actually had a chance on. It's like, it's 17 months passed. I mean, you're just going to waste a lot of time going to court over shit like that. You just learn to not be an idiot who hires losers and move on. That's what I got, Learn to not hire people who screw you and move on. It's a lesson that I keep making the same mistake over and over again. At some point, I'd be good to stop doing that. Excuse me. Very true. Saucy Houchie. Why is it hard to find loyal people? It's hard to find loyal people because many are cynical and jaded about society in general. And they're not even cynical and jaded about you in particular as a boss or an employer. They're cynical about the world, and you are part of the world. And you have to convince them through your examples and through the way you act that it doesn't make sense for them to be disloyal to you. And that's hard. That's hard. I can't even say that I've honestly earned that from the people that I have here. I don't think I've earned loyalty from people. I don't think I deserve it. But it's a very difficult thing to do. And I've seen people who have earned it, so I know it's possible. What are best practices for getting into business with shitty people? I've been learning not to trust my gut. Give it time. Give everything time. Don't rush into things. You could sooner improve America's banking systems than fix the backlog in the court system. Yeah, sadly. I appreciate what you do for Right to Repair. Thank you, Zero, for the wins. Hopefully I can get something done. I'm excited about this Massachusetts road trip. I heard you scared some of your employees out of starting their own business. Oh, you just made that up. That's bullshit. I actually encourage my employees to start their own business. New viewer, I'm pretty left-wing politically, but thank you for your videos on Right to Repair. Hate the manufacturers took micro SD away. Thank you for watching. And I appreciate that. And I also hate that they took that away. Yeah, I mean, one of my ex-employees, who he unfortunately passed away a few months ago. He worked here from 2012 to 2016. He had his own side business. Like, I sold him parts at cost. Like, if I bought a screen for $72 that went for $186 on eBay, I would sell that screen to him for $72. And I would let him wait until his customer paid him to pay me. I encourage people to have their side businesses. So the idea that I scare people out of starting their own businesses is 110% bullshit. I don't even think you heard that somewhere. I think you just made that up. You most likely just made that up. That's 100% bullshit. I think that any business owner that needs to tell their employees not to have a side business is insecure about the success or future of their company. If you believe that your employee doing work means that you're going to go out of business, it means you probably had a shit business to begin with. If I want my employee to not work on their own business, then I should pay them for that time. So if you're here from 8 to 4, I have you from 8 to 4. What you choose to do from 4 to 10 is your business. And if I want it to be my business, what you do from 4 to 10, then I got to pay you from 4 to 10. That's always been my thought about it. It's not my business what you do on your time. If you want to have your own business on your own time, you do you. And honestly, if me as a business owner, if I lose to someone who has a side business, if I lose to my employee's side business, what the fuck does that say for my business? Like, really? It's pathetic. If you didn't move and get fucked by Eugene, everything in the basement of 186 would be in the ocean by now. Yeah, but the sad thing is I would still be better off than I am right now financially. What do you prefer for travel entertainment? I have a laptop with 2 terabytes of storage. I have my ThinkPad P50, but for travel entertainment, I honestly don't use it much. I just use my phone and YouTube and my phone and my Shure SE425s. Does it for me. I watched a ton of your videos last night. They were really good. Thank you, Boston Segway. Stay away from the bad ones. What do your employees think of you moving away from New York City? Some of them are probably terrified. Actually, one of them is, because I spoke to him, because this job pays better than what he would get elsewhere, and he just bought a house, and he's getting married, and he wouldn't be able to leave. Some of them are on board and think cool. Some of them just think, I'm on the fence, I don't know what I would do. But I also can't know exactly what they think, because who's going to tell their boss exactly what they think? It's kind of like assuming that you know what your teenage daughter or your son thinks about everything when they're 14. They don't tell you. Your 14-year-old kid is not going to tell you everything, unless you have a perfect 110% relationship, and most parents don't have that with their kids. Supervisor, let's go. One supervisor called me a company man, which is pretty disgusting since I'm a labor rights man, but I guess the two aren't mutually exclusive. If the company you work for treats their employees well, and the company you work for, then you could be both. Like, if the company treats you well, and every time you walk in their office and go, hey, I think this would make life better for us, what do you think? And they go, oh yeah, sure, okay, we'll buy you that safety equipment. Or, yeah, you know what, that makes sense, we'll give you that day off. Or, yeah, you need this equipment to do your job better? Sure, here you go. Then you can be a company man and a labor rights person at the same time. Why are people still watching this? There's 678 people watching this asinine video. That's crazy. People have nothing better to do. I wonder what the Twitch number is. So 676 on YouTube, 116 on Twitch. Twitch will always lag YouTube. Sad, but... What are your thoughts on the bills in Texas where they ban companies from checking vaccine status? Again, it's closer to the direction that I'd want to be in, but I'd really just rather the government not care. How do you keep angry people in New York from rubbing off on you? I do delivery and it gets to me after a while. I don't. I think I let it affect me, and I think I shouldn't let it affect me, but it does. I've answered that question a million times, Mike. I'm sorry. At least like 5 times in the stream alone. The company I work for made me sign a non-compete because of the proprietary information and expense in their training. What are your thoughts on that? Okay, what is proprietary information? Like, I could claim that my methodology of board repair troubleshooting is proprietary, and I spend money training people. I don't make them sign non-competes. Here's the way a non-compete works in my world. How about this? Do I offer you a good enough work environment that it's worth it for you to work here versus going somewhere else? If you want to leave this place, if you want to leave this not to go into an entirely different field, but to go into another shop, I fucked up. I failed as a business owner. I didn't pay you enough. I didn't offer you. If I wasn't able to pay you enough, it's because I wasn't able to get enough business in the door to be able to provide you what you're worth, in which case I failed as a business owner. Forcing you to sign a non-compete is an admission that I failed as a business owner. And I'm not a good business owner. I'm a bad business owner. But I don't want to admit that I'm a bad business owner. Like, I don't want to actually, put it in stone that I suck at business. If somebody is able to pay Steve or Paul more money than I give them to do the work that they do, and they leave, I will shake their hand and be happy on their way out. I'll be happy that they are headed somewhere better. But I can't I'm not going to make you sign something that says you're not going to go somewhere else. Because that's an admission that I'm going to give you a shit work environment. Because if I was going to give you a decent work environment, then why would you go somewhere else? It's an admission that I suck. I don't want to admit that I suck. I kind of know deep down that I suck, but I don't want to actually admit it and put it in writing and make you sign it. Because that's what a non-compete is. I'm admitting that I suck. It would also be hypocritical for me to have people sign non-competes because the way that I get my employees is by stealing them. Steve stole from Laptop MD. Milan stole from Laptop MD. Paul stole from some mechanic place that he worked at. David stole from a store that he worked at. Who else? Finiera stole from a supermarket. Everybody that I hire that's good, I stole from somewhere else that was underpaying or treating them like shit or something like that. So it'd be weird for me to steal you. I heard you talked them off the ledge because of property taxes and expensive office spaces. No, you didn't. You made that shit up, man. Get out of here. Go away, Justin Maloney. You make shit up. You made that shit up, mofo. But is Oreo vaccinated? No. He's diseased. Thank you for your videos. They help me a lot. Thank you, Midcell. No, you made that shit up, Justin Maloney. You pulled that out of your ass. What kind of chair is that? Would it be frowned upon to go full influencer shill and actually answer that question with a link, an affiliate link? You know what? I'll go full influencer shill. This is the chair. Thank you. Do you think that USA is losing to other countries in right to repair? The future will see. Again, can you get schematics to a MacBook in any other country? Besides China? When China, it's less right to repair. It's more just intellectual property as a joke to them. Which... No, that's a horrible job, George. That's insane, the real Teal. Because if you presented them with the system to avoid that, and they were able to save that, We'd be able to split it 50-50. Thank you, Danny Hurst. Which of your cats is the most powerful? Mr. Clinton, by far. Mr. Clinton, he would tear up. He knocked down a 55-pound dog. He tackled and knocked it down. Like, he is strong. He is very muscular. When you feel him, he's the strongest cat that I've ever met in my life. He is incredibly. You feel him, he just feels like pure muscle. He can knock Blackberry over. He can restrain her. He can knock Oreo over. He could restrain Oreo so Oreo can't move if he wanted to. He is a very powerful animal. Clinton. 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 Show them how powerful you are, Mr. Clinton. Come here, boy. What about unscrupulous competitors that are attempting to borrow your methodologies? I'm not outcompeting my competitors because I have a secret. I'm outcompeting my competitors because of implementation. I haven't, Kevin. I'm just going to the places that say yes. Confident that Hi likely has homework that he's procrastinating. There is no way in hell that my part-time employee is so dedicated to this company that he's watching the stream that the company owner does at 2 a.m. reading random comments. I guarantee you that Hi has homework that he is supposed to be doing that he is procrastinating. Isn't that right, Hi? Hi has some homework to do. The worst thing in the world would be in 13 years that he winds up dumbass business owner like me. Don't. Lizzie says you'd be an amazing labor organizer. Consider it. We'll see. We'll see how much success I have with Right to Repair. I'm very curious if I'm able to make a productive push with it. Thank you, Lucine. Okay, it's getting close to the time to head out of here. Has been 3 hours and 34 minutes. Okay. I'm out of here. I'm going to wave. And then I'm going to click stop streaming. Hi skips his homework because he wants to get a raise by moderating streams. Of course, it's just an educated guess. I had a talk with Hi actually about 6 months ago, where I said that I admire his work. I don't know what it is that he's doing with what his plans are for life, but if he ever wants to pursue full-time here, whether it's data recovery or board repair or customer service, rather than be at base level part-time, I am open to discussion because he really does hard work. He does a good job. But I believe Hi is on the path to a job that pays considerably better than this business or owning this business. I'm proud of Hi. Hopefully someday when my landlord has raked me over the coals, he'll hire me for his company. And we go, all right, I really got to get out of here. It's been almost 4 hours. I have to find a better way to manage my insomnia than streaming. There's probably better ways to manage insomnia than streaming until 2 in the morning, but I haven't found them yet. I'm going to hit stop streaming. I'm going to go to bed, and Hi is going to do his homework. And we're out of here. All right. See you all later. Pet the cat. Fine. I'll pet the freaking cat. He's gotten enough pets today, though, by the way. There's no shortage of pets. No shortage of pets. All right. See you later.